Chapter 96. Before the T&C Special Trade Center turned into a city of death, Eugen's flagship barely escaped into space. Those familiar with Akira Eugen might find it hard to believe that he stayed in a dangerous place until late, but there was a reason for it. He needed to retrieve an important item from the Special Trade Center. Have we secured all the equipment of the Shadows? Yes. Both the Black Shroud and the Red Queen have been collected. However, the damage is quite severe. It doesn't matter. As long as the important parts are intact, we can find a way to recover. As the conversation ended, Akira Eugen sat in his office, tapping his fingers on the desk. Behind him, Code Blue silently stood guard. I thought there would be a lot to gain, but this time my expectations were wrong. I lost a useful tool. Tools can be replenished, but this is intriguing. Who defeated Code Black? As he expressed his doubts, the sound of someone collapsing outside the office was heard. Soon after, the door opened, and a woman entered. She had long horns on her left forehead and wore a white bodysuit. She was Si-hyun Eugen, once known as Code White. Seeing Si-hyun, Akira smiled strangely. Haha, the prodigal daughter returns. Was it your doing? Si-hyun couldn't understand Akira's words, but she didn't pay much attention. After all, Akira Eugen would die for her on this spaceship today. As soon as one mystery is solved, a new one arises. You were clearly dead, so how are you alive? Instead of answering, she drew a sword from the back of her hand. The white bodysuit she wore was named White Maiden. White Maiden could materialize various tools according to the user's imagination. If she imagined a sharp sword, it would emerge from the armor, and if she imagined flight, wings would appear on her back. Oh! White Maiden was an item Akira personally bestowed upon Si-hyun when she received the code. When the equipment that was thought to be lost with her death reappeared, he faintly smiled. It was a useful item, and it happens that you brought it back. Good. You seem relaxed, old man. Haha, of course I am. As Akira flicked his fingers, Code Blue, who had been standing behind him, stepped forward. Code Blue drew two short swords from his waist. While you were wandering somewhere in space, the Shadows underwent certain improvements. Despite Akira's nonchalant words, Si-hyun didn't even raise an eyebrow. Instead, her response was beyond Akira's expectations. Got it. What? When Si-hyun gestured, Blue turned around and slit Akira's throat. GKK. GKRRK. With half his neck severed, Akira's head slumped onto his desk. It's over. Considering the death of the one who not only belonged to Si-hyun Eugen's bloodline but also completely ruined her life, it was surprisingly pathetic. Although she should have been pleased with her revenge, she couldn't feel any joy. If I were Si-hyun Eugen, would she have laughed loudly over the enemy's corpse? Or would she have cried? She couldn't know. I have completed the task as promised. Yeah. Please keep the promise to let me meet my family. Si-hyun, who was about to nod in response to Blue's words, suddenly opened her eyes. Akira was getting up behind her. Be careful. Although Si-hyun shouted a warning, Akira was faster. Akira's hand transformed into large hooked claws and swiftly tore Blue apart. TL/N- the above text is in Japanese language. This is quite surprising. I didn't know you had included him as well. Akira mumbled some incomprehensible words. The wound on his neck had disappeared without a trace. The hooked claws that killed Code Blue shrank and returned as the wrinkled hands of an old man. TL/N- most likely, your resurrection was also the work of that damn tiger. How? Si-hyun also knew that Akira underwent genetic modification surgery. However, it was for life extension, not a procedure that could allow recovery from a state where the neck was almost severed. Among the Shadows, the only existence capable of such wonders was Code Black, clad in the Black Shroud. Sorry. The language I used to use slipped out. Are you really Akira Eugen? Haha, of course. Well, to be precise, it's a mix of both. Akira laughed like an ordinary village elder, but Si-hyun remained in an extreme state of tension. Before coming to the space city, she had undergone genetic modification surgery to the extent possible. It was partly due to the mission, but also because she could encounter the mysterious monster that killed her. Thanks to that, although not as much as before, her current state could be considered close to perfect. However, against Akira, who was smiling in front of her, she saw no chance of winning. I can't win. Instinctively, she knew. Even with dozens of clones, this monster couldn't be defeated. You're plotting for the future, aren't you? Yeah. You never give up. That's why Kusatara, no, Bayama might have chosen you. I am merciful, so I'll allow 3 attacks in total. Do as you please. Akira gave her 3 chances. Without hesitation, she drew the plasma pistol from her hip. The pistol spat fire, and a green energy mass brushed past Akira's ear. Haha, even the renowned Si-hyun Yujin is getting scared. She didn't react and fired another shot. This time too, it narrowly missed Akira. Akira frowned. Oh well. Suddenly, it's the last chance. I gave you 3 chances, and you're wasting them. Watching her, Si-hyun smiled, despite sweating coldly. I learned something recently. What? A long, thick tentacle emerged from her left arm, then struck the wall behind Akira. At the same spot where the pistol hit, the already weakened wall crumbled as the tentacle struck, shattering into pieces. What? The air in the office rapidly flowed into the vacuum of space, and seizing that momentum, Si-hyun swiftly flew outside. Even in her exit, she extended the tentacle to retrieve the dagger Blue had dropped. Oh, no. Akira, who did not anticipate Si-hyun's actions, turned his gaze to where she had flown. Si-hyun, transformed into a spacesuit by White Maiden, flew beyond the dark expanse of space. Jae-sung, who had dozed off as soon as he sat down, opened his eyes. Huh. Stretching while reaching out his arms from the chair, he looked around. Strangely, not a single passenger who was packed until he fell asleep was in sight. What's this? Did everyone go to eat? The spaceship he boarded was a luxury ship catering to VIPs with a separate dining area serving gourmet courses. Assuming everyone had gone there, he closed his eyes again to go back to sleep. No, wait a minute. Even the crew isn't visible. It was strange that there were no crew members around, even if the passengers had gone for a meal. What's going on for real? Awakening to an unknown sense of unease, Jae-sung got up. Passing through the seats towards the dining area, he detected a peculiar yet familiar smell. A sharp and pungent odor, like putting a piece of iron under his nose. Where did I smell this before? Thinking that he had a similar experience from his past work, he opened the door to the dining area. And immediately, he could recall where he had smelled that odor. It was the smell of blood. The dining area was filled with flesh, bones, and blood, rather than delicious food and quality alcohol. Monsters from the hell of interspecies warfare in the vastness of space were enjoying a feast. In the center of the lounge, a monster with thick green scales and large wings was sucking the blood of a person. The person being drained of blood was someone he knew, the medical team manager who had quarreled with the crew before he fell asleep. With each sip of blood, the person's legs trembled. At a bar table on one side of the dining area, a pink monster with numerous tentacles was slowly devouring the human resources manager. Her fate was even more miserable than the medical team leaders. Dozens of thin tentacles penetrated every hole in her face, extracting her brain. Our products. Always safe. Best for you all. Thank you. Thank you. She, who always showed a sophisticated demeanor, now uttered incomprehensible words with a face resembling madness. Hi, he. When he let out a short scream, the monsters turned to look at him. Unable to withstand their gaze, Jae-sung closed the door and quickly fled. Pilot. I need to inform the pilot. He rushed through the seats at an unimaginable speed, never having been sucked so fast in his life. Arriving at the cockpit, he pounded on the door frantically. Open up. Monsters appeared. Monsters appeared. How much he pounded. Oh. Open the door. Along with human voices from inside, the sound of the lock being released echoed. Phew, thank goodness. The pilot is alive. Thinking that the lifeline had finally come down, Jae-sung opened the door wide. There, however, was not the sight he had anticipated. Because all he could see from Jae-sung's perspective were the ankles of a man. The pilot he was hoping for was entirely swallowed by it, which was swallowing the pilot whole, head to toe. I had been waiting. It revealed its blood-stained teeth as it spoke, and Jae-sung chuckled. It's a dream. Hoping to wake up quickly from this nightmare, he closed his eyes. For now, the bait is accepted. All the living beings inside the escape pod have now entered the stomachs of the 3 of us. After feasting on delicious prey for the first time in a while, Adha and number 26 clung to their bulging bellies and fell asleep. I spread the blankets in the passenger seats over them and returned to the cockpit. What should I do next? The cargo hold and dining area had various types of provisions and calorie bars stored, so I didn't have to worry about food during the journey. Steering the ship was not as challenging as the command cabin, so with the assistance of the navigation AI, I could easily navigate alone. But there's a problem. This ship had targeted the nearby Megacorp space fortress as its destination from the beginning, so the stored fuel wasn't abundant. If we performed several warp speed jumps, the fuel would run out quickly. This area is not suitable for us. The space fortress was out of the question, and there wasn't enough fuel to reach the planet I originally aimed for. However, stopping at other planets in the vicinity wasn't easy either. All nearby planets were heavily fortified compared to special trade hubs, making it difficult to infiltrate without detection. There is a solution, though. That is, hijacking another ship. It was a method frequently used in games. There's a suitable place for warp speed travel around here. There was a sector managed by the pirate organization Spacedog. There were no good planets for resource collection or establishing human ranches, and it wasn't geographically important enough to build a space city like in the case of special trade hubs. Moreover, there was an extremely rare event where a swarm of metallic gremlins passed through that area. If caught by them, even a steel space fortress wouldn't last long. It was truly an area with no apparent usefulness to Megacorp and Star Union, so they paid no attention to it. Thanks to this, Spacedog was able to sneak in. If we go there, we'll rarely encounter Megacorp or Star Union. It wouldn't be a long stay, and if we targeted only one pirate ship, it wouldn't be a bad choice. However, this method also had its problems. Spacedog might discover us at any time. The cartels of Spacedog were constantly on the move to plunder, so unless we were unlucky, they might not return to that sector for several months. So, in the game as well, this method was mainly used after securing spaceflight characteristics. If I only had spaceflight, I could personally search for pirate ships. But doing that with this ship would quickly deplete the fuel. We need some breakthrough. Thinking about a breakthrough, I had a moment of realization. A new Transcendence characteristic. I opened the semi-transparent text window. Transcendence material list, new. Wings, endurance, spaceflight, giant creature, high hijacking. I had already collected all the materials for the new Transcendence characteristic. Since spaceflight and giant creature characteristics were obtained as samples, they were only filled to 0.5, making direct use impossible but still useful as materials. Come to think of it, the previous unique characteristic was not entirely unrelated to the materials. Chapter 97. Let's use the Transcendent system. Securing a new unique trait was the decision I made at the end of the adventure. However, before using the Transcendent system, there's something to do. We need to prepare for the new risks that may arise. While activating the superluminal navigation device, I brought up a semi-transparent text box in my mind. Race, unidentified aggressive space morph. Status, pre-saint, Transcendence level 1. Objective, survive, second evolution successful. Possess traits minus physical related, 14, psychic related, 7, infection related, 3, special defense related, 2 physical related traits, type in use, wings unavailable, acidic blood, bite force, metal absorption, perfect organism, unique, endurance, pheromone enhancement, enhanced reflexes. Physical related fusion attributes, regeneration, neurotoxin gland, unavailable. Blood-sucking tentacle, spine projectile organ, high hijacking. Psychic related traits, type in use, human nature, psychic resistance, insight. Psychic related fusion attributes, predator sense, monster's tentacle, ghostly claws, observer of fear. Infection related traits, space bacteria. Infection related fusion attributes, parasitic colony, decaying mold organ. Defense related traits, pain reduction, resistance. Possess types, 2 physical enhancement type, psychic enhancement type. Incomplete attributes, 7. Spaceflight energy absorption, robust vitality, giant creature, miniaturization, gills, fins. The composition of the text box has changed as the number of attributes has increased. With the increase in fusion attributes, there were new subcategories for each category. Among these, the trait which will affect me a lot if it gets restricted is. At this point, without a doubt, it's the monster's tentacle. The monster's tentacle is a fusion attribute created using the supernatural ability organ obtained from the previous meteor research ship. If I lose the ability to use this attribute, I won't be able to communicate with number 26 and ADHA. Of course, it could become ambiguous like the neurotoxin gland. The neurotoxin gland is a trait that uses pheromones to disrupt the nerves of people around, making them mistake me for a human. Additionally, the mimicking effect of imitating voices from the material of the neurotoxin gland has been inherited. Although the use of this trait was restricted due to being a complete organism, the ability to imitate voices, albeit limited, was still possible. When the pores organ that released pheromones got blocked during the application of the complete organism, the organ for producing voices remained intact. Even if the unique attribute is applied, if the tentacles on my head remain, communication should still be possible. The bunches of tentacles near the back of my head are organs that allow me to communicate with beings through energy waves. Thanks to this, I could communicate with number 26 and Adha beyond the racial limitations of a morph. Of course, even if the tentacles remain, I might not be able to use psychic breath. There is no guarantee that the monster's tentacle will be the one that gets restricted. However, preparations must be made for that possibility. I kept thinking about how to cope if each attribute were restricted until the kids woke up. After a few hours, number 26 and Adha gradually woke up. I briefly stopped the spaceship and explained the situation to them. In the future, I won't be able to communicate with the kids. Instead, I have prepared another means of communication. I plan to send signals with the small hands on my chest. Since both of them cannot understand human language, it was an unavoidable choice. Characters and numbers are, of course, unknown. I considered sending signals through sound, but since we were in battle, it was nearly impossible, so I ruled it out. However, once I started teaching, it didn't seem very effective. Raise the small tentacle upward and then strike. ZZZZZZZZZZZZZ. No, that's first finger of the right hand. Finger. ZZZZZZZZ. Small tentacle. Ah. Number 26, who lacks the concept of fingers, considered the arms, hands, and fingers as a unified entity, making it difficult for it to understand my explanation. ZZZZZZZZZZ. Second finger of the left hand. Retreat. ZZZZZZZZZZ. Retreat is the third. Cannot understand. ZZZZZZZ. This part. Itchy. When I poked at Hay's third toe on the left front paw, the creature shivered, apparently finding it ticklish. Adha, with both feet and toes, seemed to understand what I was trying to do. However, due to his body structure, closer to the front paws than hands, there was a limit to how well I could make him understand. This could be a problem. From the beginning, I am a human in an amorph's body. I have intelligence that fundamentally makes me different from these creatures that are closer to animals. Don't worry, big baby. Effort. The creatures consoled me, perhaps thinking I was disappointed. Yeah. There's nothing to be disappointed about yet. Both number 26 and Adha are smart. Especially number 26, it has several times read my intentions and acted on its own without me saying anything. So, I just need to teach the essential parts. After that, for an hour, I repeatedly taught them the signals I had created. Despite it being boring, the children listened attentively and followed my instructions. That should be enough. It was still impractical to make them understand all the signals I had in mind. However, the creatures understood all the basic parts. Then, is the big baby growing again? ZZZ, yes. Adult. Growth. Congratulate. Since they had entered the pod before due to the Transcendent system, the creatures showed no signs of surprise. Receiving their peculiar farewell, I summoned a semi-transparent text box. Transcendent's material list, new. Wings, endurance, spaceflight, giant creature, high hijacking. Do you want to use the Transcendent system? Accept. Having accepted, I awaited the mucus that would soon flow from my body. However, even after waiting, there was no reaction on the surface. Different from before, a sudden sound came from my back. With a cracking sound like breaking ice, my back split open. And from the split back, something halfway liquid emerged. It looked like the root of aged wood, or perhaps the web a spider had carefully woven over a long period. I didn't know what it was, but the tendrils that came out of my body began corroding the surroundings. ZZZZZZZZZ, everyone, retreat. Judging it as suspicious, I took advantage of the moment when the monster's tentacle was still alive and shouted at the creatures. While the creatures retreated, the tendrils emerging from my body covered me, swallowing the spectators. Big baby. ZZZZZZZZZZZZ, don't worry, just wait for me as usual. Seeing no signs of pain, the procedure for applying the new unique trait was undoubtedly correct. The tendrils covered about a third of the passenger compartment before stopping their expansion. After that, like other times, they solidified into a giant pod. Why go to such lengths to show something? My guess is that it might be related to changes in my body size. It's likely to grow much larger or undergo a sudden transformation. Sigh. I should warn the children to be careful next time. Even though I reassured the children before the pod appeared, they might still be worried. If I take over a new ship, I should bring a gift or something for both of them. With that thought, I closed my eyes. Adult. Strange. Yeah. She looked at the pod with the little one. Covered in glossy black slime, it was leisurely pulsating. She hesitated for a moment, then pulled out a thin tentacle from her body. It wasn't the tentacle she uses to catch prey with 4 appendages attached. No one among her kind had taught her about this fact, but she somehow knew it naturally. This thin and slender tentacle is used only when it performs a very special ritual. Curious. Quiet. Having silenced the annoying little one, she gently touched the thin tentacle to the pot. The initial sensation was dampness and warmth. However, this was only superficial. It delved deeper. The thin tentacle glowed faintly. Then, sensations that were difficult for her to understand flowed into her from the pot. It was extremely complex. Some sensations were something she had never felt in her lifetime. But even in the unfamiliar whirlpool of chaos, there was something familiar. It was the same sensation she felt when she slept with her kind back in her homeland. Comfort. The big baby is now feeling comfort. If the big baby were suffering again, she had intended to help, but this time, it wasn't necessary. She felt fortunate, but at the same time, a bit disappointed. Why would she be disappointed when she's not even hungry? Unlike before, having grown several times, she now knew where this sensation similar to hunger originated. The last time the big baby suffered, she used this thin tentacle to soothe him. This tentacle had the effect of reading the sensations of another being and transmitting its thoughts. Of course, the transmission of sensations was just one of the many abilities this tentacle had. It is used for dense communication. She still don't know what dense communication means. Her intellectual level has not reached the point where she can clearly explain it. However, every time she used this tentacle, she felt strangely excited and ticklish inside. It felt like the excitement of anticipating prey, but also a bit different. She wanted to continue feeling this addictive sensation somehow, but she forced herself to give it up. This pod is important to the big baby. Touching it could potentially have a negative impact on the growth of the big baby. As she retracted her tentacles, the little one behind her sent ripples. Adult. Growth. More. Cool. Yeah. When the big baby grows, he will become cooler. Satisfied. Satisfied. The little one, pleased with her response, wagged its tail. Little adult. Curious. What is it? Adult. Growth. Complete. Possible. Little one can't yet. Incomprehensible. Growth. Complete. Despite her saying it wasn't possible, the little one disagreed. In frustration, the disgruntled little one tapped the ground with its hind leg. Adult. No. Possible. No. Possible. Ignoring the disobedient little one, she pulled out a thick tentacle and struck the ground. The cold floor immediately silenced the little one. Noisy. Understood. To the now silent little one, she gently sent a ripple. When I grow bigger. Promise. Remember. Speaking to the little one, she waited until the big baby woke up looking more magnificent. All right. After almost 2 hours, I began to feel sensation returning to my body. From the head and torso to arms, legs, hands, feet, tail, and finally fingers and toes. With all senses restored, I stood up. The semi-dried pod easily peeled off as I moved. I guessed that due to the pod's size, my body would grow, and I was partially correct. Since healing, I had been walking with digitigrade legs. The waist was in a pinned state like a human and balance was maintained with the tail. Thus, the size I stood now was roughly 3 meters. Adding the representation of prey, it would increase to a height of 5 meters. However, my current body state was in between the hexapedal form I used with 8 legs and the bipedal form after healing, using only 2 legs. Walking with 2 feet was still the same, but the waist was partially bent, allowing the lower combat arms to touch the ground. The body had changed significantly due to the difference in the exoskeleton covering my body and back. Firstly, the exoskeleton covering my head and the horns had become much larger than before. The eye-shaped pattern engraved on my head was much darker, making it appear as if there were multiple real eyes on my head now. On the exoskeleton of the back, 8 large holes appeared, covered with a cortex of swirling patterns. The covering that used to wrap around the back had also changed into a wider shape, resembling an overturned turtle shell. As the back exoskeleton became larger, the appearance of the exoskeleton on the back of the head changed from protruding spines to flowing down the shoulders. The arms and legs also became thicker and longer in accordance with the enlargement of the exoskeleton, and the tail's appearance changed. With armor-like scales, it seemed suitable for use as a long-range striking weapon. In short, my changed appearance could be summarized as a heavily armored tank. Previously, I was closer to a nimble bipedal carnivore, but now, it would be appropriate to say that I've become bulkier and larger compared to that. My body has become so heavy that it's difficult to compare with before. Although I'll need to experiment later to be precise, at first glance, it seemed that maneuverability had slightly decreased. On the other hand, I've become larger and tougher than before. Thanks to the exoskeleton, my body has grown overall, and even in a semi-bent posture, the height is almost reaching 5 meters. In terms of length, it might be around 10 meters to 12 meters. If I use the representation of prey here, it will certainly be much larger. Now, let's see what the newly acquired traits are. After completing the examination of my body, I opened a translucent text box containing the details of the new characteristics. Horizon of Nightmare, your hunting ground is not limited to a single planet. It enhances the effects of the unique characteristics you possess. You can use Erosion Tentacle to corrode and control spaceships. Target of Influence, representation of prey, duration extended to 20 minutes. Erosion Tentacle corrodes a spaceship, turning it into a composite organism dominated by the user's consciousness. While in a connected state with the spaceship, the user cannot use physical traits. If the energy stored by the user is depleted, the characteristic effect is automatically cancelled. Erosion Tentacle can be used once every 7 days, limited to one spaceship. Caution, erosion cannot be cancelled until the spaceship's erosion is complete. The cooldown of the representation of prey changes to once every 7 days. Erosion Tentacle and cooldown are shared. Note, nightmare is just a word. In reality, it's much more terrifying. The unique trait Horizon of Nightmare was an entirely new type of trait that I had never seen before. Chapter 98. The Horizon of Nightmares. I double-checked the text box. It's a characteristic of a typical high-risk, high-return personality, but what raises my doubts is a different aspect. The ability to pilot a spaceship. I know about similar traits. It's one of the special abilities unlocked by the Outspacer's reward feature called Ship Seizure. Just as an amorph grows and strengthens progressively, the Outspacer also unlocks various functions as the cluster grows. One of them is Ship Seizure, turning the stolen ships into mobile clusters. From the moment this feature is obtained, the Outspacer's queen can move to other planets. Stealing ships is possible for other species too, but the race with the ability to turn a ship into a new organism and dominate it is unique to the Outspacer. It's similar to a morph's intrinsic nature of killing, devouring, and evolving other beings. You can never acquire a trait similar to a race's unique trait. However, the Transcendent system broke that principle. The first complete organism obtained was my organic form. When I first transformed into the symbol of hunting through this trait, I thought I resembled a wolf. The wolf-like race, called wolf, has a unique ability to transform into an optimized beast form for battle under certain conditions. Thanks to this trait, even though I am still in my early stages, I could hold my ground in close combat against other formidable opponents. A complete organism, like Wolf's transformation, is similar to Outspacer's Ship Seizure and the Horizon of Nightmares. I only obtained 2 unique traits through the Transcendent system. It's too early to conclude, but somehow that thought crossed my mind. Is the Transcendent system trying to surpass a morph's limits? If so, what is the end of Transcendence? What is the purpose of transcending? Currently, I am at Transcendence level 1. Although I acquired 2 unique traits using the Transcendent system, I have not yet entered Transcendence level 2. I recalled the message I received when I obtained the first complete organism. Transcendence, level 2, combined 5 fused traits to unlock a new type-related trait. The traits used as materials must all be related to different types. Information about the new type will be unlocked. Available traits: Regeneration, Fused, Predator Sense, Fused, Parasitic Colony, Fused, Fused, Fused. Additional reward: the golden restriction imposed at Transcendence level 1 will be lifted. Note: you can replace the material traits used for breakthrough with other traits. I have to keep that in mind. As I approach Transcendence level 2, clues about why the Transcendent system exists may emerge. Come to think of it, there are similarities between evolution conditions and the Transcendent system. To evolve into a quasi-saint, you need to acquire 4 types in addition to devouring sentient beings. To enter Transcendence Level 2, you need fused traits related to 5 types. Focusing on evolution requires collecting traits, making it difficult to enter Transcendence Level 2. On the contrary, entering Transcendence Level 2 first consumes traits, creating obstacles to reaching evolution. In other words, prioritizing one will delay the other. I used to think it simply expanded choices. There might be something more than what I'm thinking. I guess pondering over it now won't make much sense. I don't plan to dwell on a problem without a solution. I nodded and decided to experiment with my new unique trait, the Horizon of Nightmares. Tentacles of Corrosion. How does it control a spaceship? The Horizon of Nightmares appeared to be a physical trait, but it was not when considering the changes in the body. Nest-related, Horizon of Nightmares, unique. Surprisingly, it belonged to the Nest Enhancement category. Thanks to it, I had unlocked a total of 5 type conditions. Does that mean turning the spaceship into a mobile nest? It would be faster to see it directly than to unnecessarily ponder about it. I extended my combat arm to extract the corrosive tentacles for experimentation. Despite my concentration, what emerged was the original blood-sucking tentacle. Is this not it? I experimented with all 4 of my combat arms, but only the blood-sucking tentacles appeared. I even tried experimenting with the small arms on my chest, but there was nothing visible other than cute fingers. Where could tentacles emerge from? The focal point of my contemplation was the greatly changed backplate. 8 holes covered it with whirlpool-patterned epidermis. This might be where the tentacles emerge from. I exerted force on my waist and back, similar to doing a sit-up. As a result, the epidermis peeled away, revealing 6 tentacles protruding from within. Got it. The tentacles, covered in sticky mucus, were black like petroleum, unlike the red blood-sucking tentacles. Their form was also different from blood-sucking tentacles. While the latter had saw-toothed claws instead of an octopus's suckers, the corrosive tentacles were smooth, like the surface of a snake's body. Moreover, unlike the blood-sucking tentacles that resembled bare flesh, these were covered in small yet durable scales, giving them a much sturdier appearance. However, at their tips, they had sharp teeth and 6 appendages resembling the legs of a brittle star. It's truly a novel sensation. The sensation of moving the 6 tentacles attached to my back was truly mysterious. It was like the spine-tingling feeling when looking down from a glass-floored observation deck. The difference was that, rather than feeling uncomfortable or creepy, it was more natural, like moving an arm. I clenched my fist and, guided by the sensation of blood, moved the appendages at the ends of the tentacles. The strength felt from the appendages seemed to be stronger than the combat arms, suggesting greater gripping power. Let's see. When I grabbed a seat with the corrosive tentacles, the sturdy alloy chair crumpled like an aluminum can. At this rate, it can be used as a weapon, not just for piloting a spaceship. New arms and weapons are always welcome. Moreover, with the mouth at the end of the corrosive tentacles, I could consume prey. In essence, I now had 7 mouths. This part seems to synergize with the symbol of hunting. Coincidentally, the symbol of hunt duration increased to 20 minutes due to the Horizon of Nightmares effect. With the increased consumption speed, I could now assimilate much more genetic essence than before. But why only 6? There are 8 holes, so shouldn't there be 8 tentacles? All the emerging corrosive tentacles came out only from the holes in the middle and lower part of the backplate. No tentacles emerged from the holes around the shoulders, which were still covered by the whirlpool-shaped epidermis. Oh, I think I understand. Using the symbol of hunt creates 2 arms with bone blades, so these holes might be the spots where those arms emerge. I decided to stop examining the newly acquired organ here. Next, I needed to investigate the effects of this trait. How do I use this? As I shook the tentacles around, I brought the tentacle's mouth close to my inner wall. Then, a new text box appeared in front of me, confirming the appropriate size for corrosion. Estimated time for complete corrosion, 1 hour. After corrosion, the controllable time is currently 30 days. Corrosion completion time is proportional to the size of the target. Controllable time is proportional to the energy stored by the user. When the controllable time is exhausted, the controlled target will be automatically discarded. Do you want to apply corrosion? Indeed. Looking at the message, it seems that not just any spaceship can be corroded, it depends on the size. This part probably changes according to the type acquisition or evolutionary stage. Whether the escape line can dominate the maximum size with corrosive tentacles is still unknown. This part may require securing a different ship to find out. The corrosion time is quite long. It seems challenging to use the tactic of infiltrating an enemy battleship and seizing control secretly. Of course, this aspect could be reduced by acquiring types or other means. But the fortunate thing is that the controllable time is quite substantial. Since it is proportional to the energy I possess, if I consume a lot of nutrients, the controllable time should increase. This should be enough. Now, I just need to head to the space poisons territory for hyperspeed navigation. Having almost grasped the effects of the newly acquired trait, I attempted to collect the corrosive tentacles. At that moment, number 26, who was eating the remaining food in the dining compartment, looked at me. ZZZZZZ, hello. Huh. The Horizon of Nightmares only imposed restrictions on the symbol of hunt, so my concerns did not materialize since there were no restrictions on possessed traits. Even though I greeted number 26, it did not respond. It seemed either surprised by the changed appearance or its body flickered. Adha, who came out from behind, also looked at me, flapping her wings in surprise. Adult. Growth. Ended. ZZZZZ, yes. You. Moved. Adult. Impressive. Impressive. Adha ran to me and circled around me. Whether it found my transformation fascinating or not, it circled around and tapped my corrosive tentacles with her front paws. Adult. Mouth. Many. ZZZZ, grown. Great. Adha seemed to be expressing admiration, nodding her head. Number 26 also approached me and extended its tentacles, touching my corrosive tentacles. Big baby is really cool. ZZZZZ, thanks. The creature that touched me shone brightly in red. Perhaps, like a sea demon, it seemed to particularly like that several tentacles had appeared on my body. I'm glad they like it. Since the children were treating me with friendliness, I didn't feel bad either. If this were in a game, it would probably be labeled as grotesque. If they were players, seeing my current appearance might scare them, but the children are animals, so their sensibilities are different. Anyway, since they seemed to have sufficiently confirmed my new form, I collected the corrosive tentacles into the backplate. Oh. Number 26's body seemed to react positively to the corrosive tentacles. I gave its head a pat, then headed to the control room. Due to my enlarged body, the originally spacious control room now felt quite cramped. Especially with the altered body structure, controlling the spaceship with the small arms became rather inconvenient. Chapter 99. The Loose Rock Cartel has some aspects that set it apart from typical space gangs. Usually, cartel ships make a living by raiding the spacecraft of other species. If they succeed in plundering a superior ship, they often discard their old vessel and switch to the new one. As a result, most cartels focus only on the armament of the ships they operate, neglecting other aspects. However, the Loose Rock Cartel is an exception to this norm. Their primary source of income is the capture and smuggling of rare animals. Plundering is merely a supplementary source of revenue for them. Consequently, they have many considerations beyond the armament of their ships. This includes facilities for safely storing captured animals, storage for feeding the animals, as well as facilities for loading reconnaissance vehicles used to capture creatures that inhabit space. With many requirements to fulfill, Loose Rock Cartel ships are relatively large compared to the scale of other cartels. With a length of 300 meters and a height of 70 meters, their space vessels are substantial, almost rivaling the small frigates of the megacorp in size. The name of the Loose Rock Cartel's ship is the Colossal Raider. The name was given by Milo after he plundered a Star Union trading vessel a long time ago. The Colossal Raider was approaching a new prey. We have 10 minutes until we reach the signal. We're here, so why isn't it visible? The gigantic display in the control room showed nothing but endless darkness. Skywalls are creatures that emit light from their bodies, similar to creatures living in the depths of the sea. Their light is beautiful and sharp, making them easily visible from a great distance in the vast emptiness of space. Milho commanded his subordinates. Double-check the signal. It should be visible by now. At that moment, an emergency signal sounded in the control room. It was a signal sent by Calvin, the central AI computer controlling the ship. Collision alert. Collision alert. In an instant, a black ship appeared on the display. The distance between their ship and the incoming vessel was extremely close. Milo shouted in shock. Damn it. Initiate emergency evasive maneuvers now. Everyone, be careful. The evasive maneuver caused the ship's hull to sway significantly. The black ship they saw on the display passed them and disappeared beyond the screen. The pirates in the control room screamed and tumbled to the floor. Milo, being a skilled warrior of the Wolfen race, did not lose his composure when he fell. He urgently shouted, "You lazy kids! Check the cargo instead of lying around. Is everything intact?" "Yes, yes." In response to the captain's frustrated command, the crew quickly checked the computer to ensure there was no damage inside the ship. Why wasn't the ship detected right in front of us? I'll check it. Vice Captain Starks manipulated the terminal in the control room, patting his numb buttocks. Then his expression became strange. "Captain. What? Do you know that Star Union ships can detect the electric signals?" "Of course, I do." "Well, the electric signal from that ship is not being detected." "What?" The vice captain displayed the information he had checked on the terminal. Milo was perplexed because what he said was true. "What? So, the ship we almost collided with is already a dead ship?" "Not only that. The life signal we detected is coming from that ship." In other words, the ship they just passed was a contradictory existence that emitted life signals continuously even though the machinery was not functioning at all. What kind of mess is this? While Milo and Starks were contemplating, someone in the control room muttered, It's a ghost ship." Milo frowned at the statement. "Who said that? Where in the universe are ghosts?" "W. Well, Captain, you know. D. Barra cartel got into trouble with a ghost ship, and it got completely wrecked. A few months ago, the Barra cartel, losers in the C8 sector, completely collapsed due to a mysterious incident. According to rumors, the captain and vice captain of the Barra cartel went raiding as usual and encountered a ghost ship, leading to their disappearance. We're pirates, but we can't beat ghosts. We need to run away immediately." Milo slammed the control room floor with force. When his footprints remained on the solid metal panel, all the pirates fell silent. "Shut up, all of you. There's no ghost ship." "But, Captain. But. Think logically. If it's C8, it's hundreds of light years away from here. Would a ghost ship travel this far at faster than light speed?" "W. Well, it's a ghost ship, so maybe it's possible. For fuck's sake, it shoots plasma cannons and penetrates shields as a ghost. What nonsense." Seeing the pirates regain composure in Captain Milo's calm attitude, he gave an order. "We need to confirm what that ship is. Starks, you go in with the kids. Me. Sending scared idiots alone is more dangerous, so you take command yourself. Stark, don't worry. I'll be watching, so you'll be fine." Sigh. "Yes, Captain." Starks nodded with a resigned expression. Regardless, capturing a ship was more profitable than a loss. All the cargo inside became theirs. "I wonder what's inside." After sending the vice captain, Milo observed the mysterious ship displayed on the screen. "Here it comes." I opened my eyes, sensing the approaching ship. It had been a week since I arrived in the I-97 sector. During this time, I had been relentlessly checking the functions of the corroded ship. The ability for faster-than-light travel is reassuring. The biggest advantage when corroding a ship is that I can utilize most of its functions, similar to my own body. In addition to basic navigation functions, faster-than-light travel using the warp engine was easily achievable. In this case, I could consume the residual energy in the ship instead of my own. If not for this, maintaining the ship for a long time would have been difficult. Moreover, although it couldn't be confirmed without a turret, this ship likely had the capability for cannon fire. Since I can draw and use plasma energy, it should be possible. Another advantage was that I could change the structure of the ship into the form I desired. It's like a nest where my traits can be utilized. From the moment corrosion was complete, this ship became a living entity, almost like a nest. Additionally, the ability to change the ship's structure allowed me to create traps using my characteristics. I've made good use of the monster's tentacles. The ship that came to me was here because I created a giant monster tentacle inside the ship, causing a disturbance. They probably mistook it for a skywall or a galagon. At first glance, it seemed only advantageous, but as in life, there were undoubtedly disadvantages. It's a shame I can't move when controlling the ship. The tentacle from my dorsal armor that came out during corrosion is connected to the ship, rendering movement impossible. While I could call the kids or make slight movements, actual locomotion was out of the question. Additionally, I couldn't use physical traits due to the golden restriction. If it were possible, I could have used them freely while dominating the ship. If I could use physical traits while dominating the ship, the possibilities would be endless. I could attach wings to the outer wall of the ship for planetary atmosphere travel or combine biting power with metal absorption traits to chew up other ships and reinforce the main body. At least, the fortunate thing is that I can create a new corrosion tentacle even in a connected state. The corrosion tentacles in my body must remain connected to the ship, making them unusable. However, I can create new corrosion tentacles near my inner or outer walls. But that doesn't necessarily mean I can control a new ship while controlling another one. Once corrosion is complete, my mind becomes connected to the ship. While I would need to confirm when the ship gets closer, it's likely impossible to corrode a new ship while in control of another one. Well, it's a shame, but the specs of the corrosion tentacles themselves aren't bad. Even without special functions, I can use these tentacles for hunting or preying on enemies. Since the corrosion tentacles have mouths, I might be able to acquire genetic material. Although I haven't tried it due to a lack of experimental subjects, it seems quite feasible. By the way, the ship is larger than I thought. As the ship approached, its size became more apparent. It was almost 3 times larger than the ship I dominate. Among space gangs, it's uncommon for a ship of this size to be operated, usually reserved for top cartels or those focusing on smuggling. It doesn't seem like a top cartel, judging by the detected personnel. The numbers are too low. My guess is that they are smugglers, and not just ordinary ones, but at a considerable level. The smuggling facilities are well equipped. Additionally, there aren't many, but they have recon ships. In appearance, it resembled a Star Union trading ship or a megacorp raiding frigate, but it's not certain. I'll need to go inside that ship to confirm the details. If my assumptions about the ship are correct, it wouldn't be a bad vessel to switch to. If it's a smuggling ship, there should be plenty to plunder. Moreover, targeting a smuggling ship would provide access to information about smuggled animals stored in the ship's computer. This includes details about what lives on each planet and safe routes for planetary infiltration. Considering the Transcendent Stage 2, I need to capture not only sentient beings but also wild creatures. In fact, aside from the Transcendent Stage 2, various types of genes are needed during the evolution from pre-saint to quasi-saint stage. It seems like the next destination is roughly determined. Of course, securing control of that ship comes first. It's a bit larger than expected. Coincidentally, the ship is attempting to dock toward our direction. Before welcoming the guests, I need to check if domination is possible. I concentrated my mind and created corrosion tentacles on the outer wall of the ship I control. A slender docking port emerged from the enemy ship, attaching itself to the ship I dominate. During this time, the corrosion tentacles secretly attached to the lower part of the docking port. The translucent text box that appears when selecting a corrosion target guided me. As expected, I can't dominate it immediately. Since I was already in control of a ship, I couldn't corrode a new one. Still, I could check whether it was a suitable target or not. Let's see. The corrosion tentacles, having completed the check, reported the results to me. It's fortunate that domination is possible. While it's rare news that even a pirate ship over 3 times larger is a corrosion target, it comes with some accompanying issues. First, the time it takes for corrosion is longer than when dominating this ship. It takes 5 hours to complete the corrosion. Moreover, the duration for maintaining control is only 10 days. As the size of the domination target increases, the energy required to maintain it also increases. In other words, after absorbing as much energy as possible, it's necessary to corrode the pirate ship for an extended period of control. I need to move carefully. I retrieved the corrosion tentacles protruding from the outer wall. Since it's been a week, there's no problem moving the ship itself. However, since I don't have much energy, I need to prepare once I switch to that ship. I should hunt reasonably and gather energy. Consuming smugglers and smuggled animals inside that ship should provide enough energy to dominate the ship for an extended period. After that, when the opportunity arises to complete the corrosion, the ship will be mine. Rather than that, should I deal with those who boarded this ship first? Exploration teams or some group started crossing over to this side through the docking port. I weakened the door connected to the port, making it easier for them to enter the ship. What? Why is it so weak? Because it saves time, isn't it? Stop the nonsense and let's get in. The voices of the pirates entering the ship were transmitted into my mind. As this ship is my nest and an extension of my body, I can know everything about their words, actions, and even physical conditions. They're wearing spacesuits. The pirates were aware in advance that this ship was a dead ship and wore spacesuits. Also, each of them carried various types of weapons to respond to potential crisis situations. Even bombs were brought in case they deemed this spacecraft problematic. Well, it's meaningless anyway. The weapons they were carrying might be useful when dealing with dangerous wild animals, but the entity awaiting them now is not a mere creature. Who could have imagined that the ship they're disembarking from would target them? Let's split up and search. Yeah. Oh, Justin. Go to the engine room and check the status. Engines are expensive, you know. Understood. The incoming group of pirates began to split up to quickly search the inside of the ship. Good. Before their arrival, I radically changed the internal structure of the ship. It's almost like a maze. Moreover, there are many traps. I closed my eyes again. One of the labyrinth passages inside the ship connected to the engine room where I was located. Damn, it's so eerie. In an instant, the one referred to as Justin walked unknowingly toward the engine room through the newly altered passage. Oh. This should definitely be the engine room. Working as an engineer for the Loose Rock cartel, Justin was knowledgeable about the structure of ships, be it of Megacorp or of Star Union. The current passenger ship they entered had a 3-story structure with the engine room located on the bottom floor. Normally, he should be seeing stairs leading down by now, but in front of him was an endlessly long corridor. What's this? This ship is not as massive as the Loose Rock cartel ship, the Kelvinho. By now, he should have reached the opposite side since he walked continuously without stopping. Something strange. In the ominous atmosphere, Justin activated the communicator inside his spacesuit. Vice Captain Starks, sir. BZZT. What? BZZT. Is this? BZZT. Vice Captain. BZZT. Monster. BZZT. Retreat. BZZT. The communication device emitted only unintelligible words and an unpleasant noise. Well, it's nothing serious, right? The colossal raider is waiting outside. If something had happened on this ship, they would have taken action sooner. So, he forced himself to ease his anxiety and continued forward. Now what should I do? Motion sensor. If I activate that. He hurriedly pulled out a small device from his tool pack attached to his waist. It was a motion sensor that detects the movement of living organisms, displaying signals on the machine's radar when there is movement nearby. As he activated the motion sensor, a green light emanated from the machine. Alright. Looking at the results on the radar, he doubted his own eyes. Signals were being displayed from the entire surrounding area. What is this? A signal was displayed right in front of him. Astonished, he lifted his head and faced them. Eyes were appearing all over the corridor where he stood, glaring at him. Eyes shining in purple on the black walls. Facing the eyes, Justin found himself screaming in terror. Avoiding those frightening gazes as if mad, he ran frantically. In front of him as he fled, there was a door. A door leading to the engine room, which had been completely invisible until now, was waiting for him. Come. This way. Was it an auditory hallucination caused by extreme fear? Or was it the ship's heart calling him? Justin couldn't determine who the caller was. To him, desperately longing for someone's guidance, the identity of the caller didn't matter. In response to the call, Justin opened the door to the engine room. Chapter 100. Starks. No signal from this side. ZZZZ. Help. ZZZZ. What? I can't hear you. Say it again. ZZZ, ZZZZ. This place. ZZZZ. Is. ZZZZ. Here. Damn it. As the communication ended, Milo cursed loudly. Hey. Is the communication not restored yet? I'll check. Until they passed the docking port, everything seemed fine. Thanks to the signal chip attached to the spacesuit, the signal was displayed well, and communication proceeded smoothly, except for some minor noise. However, after they entered the ship, one by one, they disappeared from the detector and communication became silent. The signal is fine, but there seems to be something interfering in the middle. How can we resolve it? Well, it seems we'll have to go in and handle it ourselves. Knowing the kind of situations people entering might face, should they send someone else? Just abandon them. Milo, like any typical space smuggler, wasn't one to cherish the lives of his subordinates. But Starks and Justin are a bit valuable. The chief engineer had been working with Milo for a long time, and Justin was a somewhat valuable engineer within the space smuggling community. While he was contemplating whether to abandon them or not, a subordinate from the Situation Room called him. "Captain, there's a signal appearing." "Yeah? Who is it?" "It's Justin." When Justin mentioned the cult of the wolf god, his movements appeared on the detection system, and the illuminated indicator on the detector was getting closer to the connected docking port. Did he go to the engine room? Why is he coming back? I don't know. Turn the docking port camera. The camera screen appeared at the bottom of the Situation Room's large display. After a while, Justin walked into the docking port. He had apparently discarded the transparent helmet somewhere, and he was not wearing it. Thanks to that, his pale face was clearly captured by the camera. Huh? Why is he not wearing the helmet? Oh, damn. He's carrying a bomb. Justin was carrying the bomb that he had given to the chief engineer with the instruction to detonate it if there was nothing valuable on the ship. If it explodes inside the docking port, the damage will be severe. I know, damn it. Hey, turn on the speaker. Milo quickly picked up the microphone and called Justin. Justin. What are you doing right now? Captain. Justin, carrying the bomb absent-mindedly, stopped in his tracks. Where's Starks, and why are you carrying that bomb? Captain, I. When Milo looked at him, Justin didn't seem to be in his right mind. It was suspicious that he had the bomb given to the chief engineer in the first place, and it was strange that he was walking around without a helmet inside the spaceship when they didn't know what might be inside it. But if that guy detonates the bomb at the docking port, the colossal raider will undoubtedly suffer significant damage. I'm scared. Hey, what's so scary? Where is there anything a pirate like you should be afraid of? While Milo was talking to Justin, he signaled to his subordinates. It was to block all the surrounding areas connected to the docking port on the colossal raider. Enough. Put down the bomb and come in to talk. Okay. Captain, you don't know anything. I'm trying to protect the colossal raider. What? Suddenly talking nonsense. Justin, who was staring at the camera, laughed strangely. Kook. No. It's already too late. Darkness will devour this ship. What? Caw. 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 Wait. Smiling as if his mouth had split open, Justin pressed the switch of the bomb. Before Milo could stop him, the bomb exploded, shaking the hull significantly. It's done. As soon as I felt the vibrations on the ship, I prepared to leave the ship. First, the rescue. I changed the structure of the ship to connect the area where the explosion occurred, the engine room, and the place where the kids were. The black wall squirmed and changed shape, and the space where number 26 and Adha were connected to the engine room as one. Number 26, pushing dozens of tentacles into the helmet, and Adha, sucking blood after removing the helmet, looked at me and shouted. Big baby. I hunt success. ZZZZZZZZZZZ. Well done, everyone. About half of the intruders into the ship fell into the trap I set. There were some who resisted trying to escape, but number 26 and Adha took care of them. It's fortunate that the corrosive tentacles also have a predation effect. A morph's predation effect doesn't appear by eating dead bodies. Precisely, it only counts when I consume a creature that I killed. Similarly, for the evolutionary condition of capturing an intelligent species, only the creatures I killed are counted. We have to cross over before the protective door surrounding this area closes. Almost simultaneously with me, number 26 and Adha landed without hesitation and followed behind me. In the distance, at the end of the corridor, an as yet unsealed protective door is visible. Camera. Through the auxiliary organs, I sense the movement of surveillance cameras beyond the protective door. While running, I extended the corrosive tentacles and destroyed the surveillance cameras. Anyway, if I want to control this ship, I'll have to face the pirates directly, but there's no need to get caught unnecessarily. After destroying the surveillance cameras, we were able to barely cross the protective door. Infiltration was successful without any issues. Repair personnel will come soon. Before that, we need to leave this place. ZZZZZZZ over there. While controlling Justin, I heard that there might be a hiding place on the pirate ship. According to Justin, this ship is a modification based on the Star Union's cargo ship, where the first and second floors are entirely used as cargo holds. Usually, live animals or cargo for sale are stored in the cargo holds, but currently, the ship is returning after completing a trade, so some of the cargo holds are empty. The goods are stored only on the second floor and the first floor is empty. Since there's nothing to guard and the surveillance personnel patrol roughly, it's a perfect place for me to hide. Our location is on the third floor. If we go straight, we'll definitely be caught on camera. The rear is closed by the protective door and the only available path is on the opposite side. If we go that way, there's a high chance of encountering pirates coming to repair the area. Let's go through the floor. Once I go down to the second floor, I'll have to find another way or something. I inflicted a wound on my arm, letting acidic blood fall to the floor. As the sturdy metal plate corroded, a pungent smoke rose. It's not good that I've grown in size. Number 26, who can shrink its body, and Adha can easily escape through the hole that has just been created. However, I can't. Shedding more blood to quickly enlarge the hole, I grabbed the edge of the corroded floor with my combat arm and widened it significantly. The hole is large, but that side is probably due to the explosion in the isolated area. Of course, during repairs, they will realize that it was not caused by an explosion, but it doesn't matter. By then, the situation will be chaotic enough that it won't matter who created these traces. ZZZZZZZZZZ go down first. Yes. I sent number 26 and Adha down first, and not far away, I detected movements of people. Pirates wearing spacesuits were coming here to repair the damaged area. Should I use the newly acquired trait? I briefly considered it but gave up. No, there are many other ways. Providing crucial information to the enemies early on is not desirable. Instead of using the newly acquired ability, I used the dreadful overseer on one of the pirates beyond the corridor. At the moment they were about to pass the corner, a pirate in the middle began to glow in terror. There. Why is this guy acting like this? Darkness. Darkness is swallowing us. While other pirates were trying to calm their terrified comrade, I melted the floor and leapt downward. Various facilities related to animals, such as numerous containers, large cryogenic capsules, and rectangular prisons with alloy iron bars, came into view. ZZZZZZZ this way. Using the auxiliary organ to detect the area, I sensed that there seemed to be stairs in that direction. We ran towards the direction of the stairs. The camera installed on the stairs shot quills to neutralize it. After hiding in a corner of the first floor cargo hold, we could finally catch our breath. Okay. Now that we're here, what's next? While contemplating what to do next, a deafening noise came from above. It was the sound of the plasma turrets mounted on the pirate ship firing. The target was probably the abandoned ship that I had dominated and discarded. The pirate reconnaissance team is all dead and the ship is damaged, so the captain of this ship must have received quite a blow. Now enjoy the captain's seat to your heart's content. That position will soon be mine. They've really messed things up. How do we fix this? Engineers from the ruthless cartel side while wearing spacesuits. Since the captain is furious, we have to handle it somehow. Hurry and I will take care of the outer wall, so Cooper, you handle the inside. Understood. Cooper, holding a metal injector, headed inside alone to repair the damage that occurred inside the ship. The metal injector, shaped like a welding machine but the size of a human, is a tool commonly used for repairing giant artificial structures like ships. By connecting several alloy plates to the device and activating it, liquid alloy comes out from the tip of the injector to weld the damaged area. While repairing with the metal injector for a while, he noticed something strange. This wasn't caused by an explosion, was it? The hole in front of the protective door had edges that seemed to be melted as if acidic liquid had been poured. To check the lower part, he lifted his head. At that moment, a hand reached out from the hole and grabbed his helmet. Without being able to scream, he was dragged into the hole. All that remained where Cooper was standing was the lonely metal injector. A few minutes later, Hurry, who was repairing the outer wall, came in for a break. What's up? Where did Cooper go? Seeing only the metal injector in front of a sizable hole, he shook his head. Cooper. Where are you? He's downstairs. Why did he go down there? There was no reply. Hui waited for Cooper to come up, but he was nowhere in sight. Helplessly, he jumped down into the hole. Hey. What are you doing from the cargo hold? It's here. The cargo hold had minimal light to avoid stimulating the smuggled animals. Hui knew that fact, but even considering it, the place was much darker than usual. Did the lights go out? Still not sensing anything strange, Hui followed the voice. Did it come from the stairs? Hui knew that currently, there were no stored creatures or cargo on the first floor. Thinking of it as a joke, he descended the stairs. Cooper. Earlier, he thought the second floor was quite dark, but compared to that, the first floor was incomparable. Cooper. It's too dark, I can't see anything. As he shouted, a white light turned on in the distance. Hui, not realizing it was a helmet-mounted flashlight, followed the light with relief. What on earth are you doing here? Following the light, Hui met Cooper, whom he had been looking forward to seeing. However, Cooper looked very different from what he had expected. He wasn't wearing a helmet. To be precise, Cooper didn't have a head to wear a helmet. Then where is the light that illuminates them coming from? Hui's gaze followed the light upward. About 5 meters high, 4 long fingers held Cooper's helmet. Why? Are you here now? With those words, the light on Cooper's helmet went out. What remained afterward was nothing but the profound darkness that seemed to swallow even the terminal despair. Chapter 101. What time do you think the repairs will be finished? It'll take some time. Sigh, it's taking quite long. Oh, and it seems like the camera is also malfunctioning, repair that as well. I told Justin and ended the communication. Let's reorganize. As I gnawed at the engineer's arm, I pondered. Before seizing control of the ship, what should I prioritize? Originally, the plan was to secure the energy necessary to maintain dominance after invading the pirate vessel. I thought that if there was a shortage of energy after corrosion was complete, we'd swiftly lose control of the ship. But the situation has slightly changed. When I previously dominated the ship of the Megacorp, I devoured the pirates. Not by directly tearing them apart and consuming them, but by creating corrosive tentacles inside the ship. The duration of maintaining control after consuming them increased. After dominating the ship, I speculated that it might be impossible to obtain additional energy. However, my assumption was wrong. Even by devouring enemies with the corrosive tentacles, my stored energy increased. Eating them with the corrosive tentacles is akin to consuming food orally. Seeing the predatory effect displayed on one of the pirates, it is nearly confirmed. It means there's no need to aim for energy acquisition through corrosion. Still, I can't recklessly use corrosion. During corrosion, I have to remain motionless for 5 hours without the ability to cancel it. Being immobile makes it challenging to flexibly respond to enemy attacks. It's better to use corrosion safely a little later. Approximately 300 meters long, this massive ship contains a total of 85 pirates. The fewer their numbers, the more advantageous for me. At least I need to lessen their numbers. What should I aim for first? According to Justin, this ship carries numerous powerful bombs used to destroy evidence after raiding another vessel. To be honest, it doesn't seem like they'll self-destruct because of just me. But it wasn't certain too, as if cornered, one cannot predict their actions and can do anything for their own survival. Perhaps the captain might secretly install bombs among the crew and escape alone via jet. Let's prevent the escape first. If I destroy the jet within the ship, they won't dare to use bombs rashly. Then, by clearing out the bombs, their means to threaten me significantly decrease. The jet is in the hangar. Because I used the hijacking trait as a material for the Nightmare's Horizon, currently, I can't neutralize the surveillance cameras. Though who knows, maybe if I reintegrate the hijacking, it won't be easy to navigate to the hangar, dodging the enemy's attention with this physique. However, nothing in this world is impossible. Let's start by making the nest. I crouched down after stuffing the engineer's corpse into my mouth. Similar black viscous fluid, akin to what emerged while corroding the ship, oozed from various holes in my body. Since it's just temporary, there's no need to make it perfect. If I can thoroughly monitor enemies within a radius of 100 meters from where I stand, that's sufficient. The semi-hardened mucus substances were gradually forming spores and tendrils, slowly expanding the area. When the nest size roughly surpasses the area I'm lying in, I affix the auxiliary organ on top of it. I felt a sensation akin to when I first used the corrosion tentacles, with my body being pulled into the metal panels of the ship. Having confirmed the successful link with the nest, I checked the area detectable by the nest. Alright. This should suffice. I created a small but operable nest, so it's time to move on to the next step. I have traits obtained from killing pirates on the escape line. I've had a few chances to use it but refrained, now it's time to utilize it. Tooth Fairy Nest, a mechanism that generates a pack of voracious fleas with sharp teeth called Tooth Fairy Swarm. It can be generated up to 3 times a day, with a controllable radius of 100 meters. TL/N, who on Earth came up with such a name? Since boarding the pirate ship, aside from the holes where the corrosion tentacles emerge, my outer reinforced skin was adorned with pouches in other areas. These pouches house the combat-oriented parasites known as the tooth fairy swarm. It's a trait created by merging physical traits like biting force and infection-related traits like fleas. It was unexpected that I would obtain fleas. Trait could mainly be obtained from wild animals here in this ship. It's a trait commonly obtained with a high probability when consuming animals covered in fur. I didn't expect to acquire it here. Perhaps smugglers were involved. One of the pirates who boarded from the escape line was already infected with fleas. When I devoured him along with the fleas attached to his body, I gained a new trait. The flea itself isn't particularly useful. It's a trait with a negative effect similar to itching. Holding the trait permanently causes a condition called chronic itchiness. But it changes entirely when merged with the physical type trait biting force. When combined with the biting force trait, it transforms into a usable infection-related trait. Come forth, my darlings. Upon activating the tooth fairy nest, the egg chambers on their backs burst open, releasing black insects. They had large teeth and mouths instead of eyes on their heads, resembling ordinary fleas except for being the size of a child's palm. Unlike original fleas that suck blood, these tooth fairies tear and devour anything with their sharp teeth. These loyal soldiers don't discriminate between flesh or metal, they simply tear apart whatever I command them to. Line up, all of you. Dozens of tooth fairies obediently gathered in front of me. Number 26, who was devouring an engineer in a spacesuit nearby, approached upon witnessing this scene. Wow. Who are they? Number 26 sparkled with fascination as the tooth fairy swarm gathered together. ZZZZZZZZZZ, they are the creatures that I made. You made them. Are these the offsprings of the big baby? ZZZZZZZZZZ, similar, but a bit different. They're not your offsprings. Similar to the domination limit displayed in the tooltip, the tooth fairies are a kind of summon created through me. They're consumables meant to divert enemies' attention or ambush them from unexpected places. I've used them effectively in games as well. Unlike parasitic entities in games functioning as a kind of debuff skill, the tooth fairies are implemented as combat-oriented summons. They prove quite helpful for a morph who can only play solo. To be honest, their specifications aren't particularly great. These fearsome fleas have swift movements and high attack power, but their limitations are distinct. Due to their swarm-like nature, they have almost no defense. Even a laser rifle shot would kill them. Against creatures with strong strength like Hulk mutants, they could be easily squashed. Hence, I need to use them effectively to get my money's worth. Although it's unfortunate news for the pirates, I excel in making good use of the tooth fairies. Take your positions. Upon hearing my command, the tooth fairy swarm bounced away, disappearing up the cargo bay stairs. Their appearances weren't visible, but the distinct signals they emitted were continuously being transmitted to my auxiliary organ. The destination of the tooth fairy swarm was the hangar containing the escape jets. The hangar is located near the forward section of the third-floor hull. Using their sturdy hind legs to spring around, they swiftly ascended to the third floor and turned into the corridor leading to the hangar. Pirates in the middle. Having anticipated the pirates' movements through the nest, I signaled the tooth fairies. The voracious fleas chewed up nearby air vents and slipped inside to hide. Motion sensors detected something here. I don't see anything. Damn, is it a ghost haunting the ship, or what? The pirates, carrying motion-detecting devices, wandered around the corridor, which was displaying warning signals, but eventually left for elsewhere as they weren't able to see anyone. As I couldn't sense the pirates' movements, I commanded again. Go forward. The tooth fairy swarm, bounding down the corridor, suddenly spotted the entrance to the hangar. In front of the door stood 2 guards smaller than me but significantly larger than regular humans. One resembled a gorilla-like monster, and the other had a head akin to a rhinoceros. Despite their different appearances, there was one striking similarity: metal plates were implanted all over their bodies. Hulk mutants. Their gruesome appearance a mishmash of various genes revealed their identity as Hulk mutants. Yawning with boredom, they stood guarding. There are 2 Hulk mutants ahead. I ordered the tooth fairy swarm to retreat. Confronting the Hulk mutants with them would be impossible. With every tooth fairy striking the mutants, they'd perish one by one. Even if the tooth fairies could potentially kill the Hulk mutants, I wouldn't allow it. They're a precious collection of genes that I can't afford to lose. I decided to deal with those two mutants later and directed the Tooth Fairy swarm to enter through the vents. It might take a detour, but infiltrating through the vents into the hangars was preferable. The voracious fleas stood in rows of two, walking within the ventilation ducts. It would be a truly transcendental sight if someone else, other than me, witnessed it. These are vents. Controlling the Tooth Fairy swarm, I suddenly remembered the time I first became an amorph, starting life in the cargo bay of the Megacorp research vessel. I roamed the vents, hunting while evading people's gazes. Now, I was trying to reverse hunt numerous pirates within a much larger ship than the research vessel. We're in. It took some time, but the Tooth Fairy swarm safely arrived in front of the vent attached to the ceiling of the hangar. As fate would have it, the vent in the hangar ceiling was of the same rotating style as in the cargo bay of the former research vessel. Attack and destroy everything. Back then, I risked my life to avoid the vent's blades, but not anymore. Dozens of Tooth Fairies bit and chewed the machine devices near the vent's edge. Sparks flew and the vent slowly decelerated before finally stopping. The Tooth Fairies demolished the blades and jumped down into the hangar. Inside, the old-style Star Union fighter jets were parked. Destroy them all. The Tooth Fairies, baring their sharp teeth, adhered to the undersides of the fighter jets. Although there were cameras inside, unless someone paid close attention, it'd be challenging to notice the Tooth Fairies' movements. Their bodies were the same pitch black as the floor, and they were only the size of a child's palm. Given that such creatures were only roaming beneath the jets, if seen through the camera, it'd likely be mistaken for mice scurrying about. How much time had passed? The thick door of the hangar opened, and a series of armed groups entered the hangar. Anomalies detected inside the hangar. What are you idiots doing outside when there's trouble inside? Hey. We. Did our best. Crying out loud. You damn useless idiots. The pirates quickly realized the anomaly inside the hangar, faster than I anticipated. They started searching under the jets using flashlights. Arg. These crazy bug. As the fleas attacked the pirates panicked and started shooting. Within the dimly lit hangar, every flash of red laser signaled the eruption of Tooth Fairies. Get this thing off me. Arg. My face. Some surviving Tooth Fairies clung to the pirates' bodies, gnawing on their flesh with razor-like teeth, eliciting screams of agony as their skin was torn. Help. Someone help. You damn insect. Get it off me, now. Though the Tooth Fairies were more formidable than expected, unfortunately, there were no fatalities on the pirates' side. The Hulk mutant guards were pulling off the Tooth Fairies attached to the pirates using their bare hands. Consequently, the Tooth Fairy swarm that entered the hangar was wiped out in an instant. However, it wasn't a massive disappointment. Damn it. The fighter jets are all wrecked, aren't they? They had adequately served my purpose. The escape route is blocked. And though they might not realize it, it wasn't over yet. Suddenly, egg sacs grew on the armor and burst, encircling me with a new swarm of Tooth Fairies. The fighter jets are dealt with. The next targets were the explosives stored in the armory. Hunting wasn't merely about chasing prey. It involved preparation before the hunt, understanding the prey in advance, positioning it as desired, essential factors for a successful hunt. They didn't know me, where I was, or my condition. There were only 3 differences between them and me, the prey and the hunter. Once all the bombs are cleared. This desolate space was the only survival spot in the harsh universe. It would turn into darkness, swallowing the foolish prey. Chapter 102. It had been a day since the colossal raider entered Sector I-97. During that day, there were many events within the Loose Rock cartel, to be more precise, many unfortunate events. Hurry up. We need to build a defense line before that creature crosses the zone. At the rear of the colossal raider, the remaining pirates were busy barricading. This place was the last stronghold because the mysterious monster that attacked their ship had taken control of the entire front area. One of Milo's subordinates captured the identity of the monster on camera just before falling victim to it. When Milo saw the creature's appearance, he couldn't believe his eyes. The entity slaughtering pirates as it roamed the ship looked like a pink balloon resembling a bubble amoeba, except for the fact that it had enormous tentacles exceeding its body. Can a bubble amoeba really kill people? Milo knew that bubble amoebas were harmless herbivores living on plankton in the ocean. However, this one was different. It tore its victims apart with bizarre strength and, contrary to its whimsical appearance, moved quite swiftly. It mocked the fleeing pirates with its tentacles, capturing them effortlessly and tearing their limbs apart. In different circumstances, Milo might have found this peculiar bubble amoeba intriguing. Bubble amoebas are not known for killing people by engulfing them with tentacles or disintegrating them with psychic powers. The problem was that half of the pirates who boarded because of this bubble amoeba had fallen victim to it. They were not only captured but also devoured by the creature. Damn, it's all screwed up. We can't withstand this. Milo's subordinates in front of him were working frantically to install what looked like adult-sized turrets, officially called a PT, automatic point defense turret. These were primarily used by the Star Union for security and self-defense. Other species often nicknamed them as storm guns because of their storm-like saturation of firepower. These turrets used depleted uranium rounds as their default ammunition with a maximum capacity of 1,000 rounds. Unless manually controlled by the user through a terminal, a built-in small AI automatically fires based on motion detection sensors. Depleted uranium rounds were more affordable than the tungsten rounds of a mega cannon, but that didn't mean they were cheap. The large ammunition capacity meant significant credits were consumed with each use. Moreover, obtaining them was challenging if not affiliated with the Star Union. The crazy robot bastards don't even spare ammunition for other species. Thanks to capturing and looting Star Union trade ships, the Loose Rock Cartel had access to the storm guns and a massive supply of ammunition. However, due to restricted ammunition, they only used them when dealing with tough-skinned creatures akin to mountain crawlers. At least they keep the second arsenal in reserve. The first arsenal located at the ship's front had been devastated by the monster's attack, resulting in the loss of all the bombs and weapons. Inside, if Milo hadn't built the second arsenal in anticipation of such events, they would have all become prey for the monster long ago. Captain. Storm guns installation completed. Good. How about the beta team? Storm guns installed. Returning to the situation room. Having activated the storm guns, Milo retreated to the rear area with his subordinates. While engineers closed bulkheads and welded during the retreat, others repeated the tasks they had been doing. Captain. What? The ship's AI has something to report. It's about changes in the surrounding environment. I'll check it later since I'm busy. Milo ended the communication from the situation room and, with his subordinates, carried the storm guns. Damn, as the captain, I never thought I'd be dealing with this. The ship was a mess due to the mysterious monster, and the storm guns had wiped out a considerable amount of credits. On top of that, Milo had to endure such hardships for the sake of his captain's dignity. Milo, with a complicated mind, quickly forgot about the communication from the situation room. Having successfully cleared the bombs without significant issues, I immediately initiated corrosion. During the corrosion process, to defend against pirate attacks, I entrusted tasks to number 26 and Adha. Firstly, I assigned number 26 the role of diverting the pirates' attention. Being with me for a long time, it had become a skilled hunter and should easily be able to suppress the pirates. Of course, since number 26 could be in danger, I also sent a group of tooth fairies with it. The tooth fairies were connected to me mentally. If any unforeseen danger occurred for number 26, they would warn me in advance. It seemed to like the idea of helping me, but it also enjoyed moving with its beloved group of tooth fairy swarm. And to Adha, I assigned the role of protecting me during the corrosion process. It's disadvantageous for her to fight indoors. While Adha would be overwhelmingly advantageous in free flight in space, her body was not suitable for fighting inside the ship. Unless it was a spacious area like a cargo hold. Although she seemed displeased that she couldn't go hunting, after a few requests to stay vigilant, she seemed to have eased up. Even now, she flew slowly around the cargo hold, monitoring who was coming and who wasn't. Smooth. It had been 4 hours since I initiated corrosion. If I could endure for just one more hour, the ship would be mine. I had already secured not only the cargo holds on the first and second floors but also the entire third floor. As for the fourth floor, the ship's front was under my control, with only the central and rear areas remaining. Seems like they're staging a protest from over there in the situation room. They had sealed off the area around the situation room on the aft fourth floor of the ship. Coincidentally, number 26 was climbing the stairs to the fourth floor using multiple fins. Having cleared all the bombs and turned the armory into a mess, I thought there wouldn't be a significant threat. Nevertheless, just in case, I can handle the remaining ones myself. There was no need to actively engage those who were passively approaching from over there. After all, once corrosion was complete, they would all be in my hands. I signaled number 26. ZZZZZZZZ hold on. ZZZZZZZZZZZ come back now. Are you okay? ZZZZZZ, yes. Having recalled number 26 and the Tooth Fairy Swarm, I focused on Corrosion again. It's been a while since things went smoothly like this. When I was in the Space City, there was hardly any time to relax. Since the discovery of my attempt to leisurely fulfill evolutionary conditions in the apartment complex, new enemies had been constantly appearing. Thanks to that, I've accumulated quite a few traits. Although I gained some useful ones, it still felt imbalanced. I haven't fought much against wild creatures. Currently, my abilities were combat-oriented, leaning towards close combat. While I did have ranged attack capabilities, they were limited, and there were many utility-oriented traits missing. After taking over the ship, I can go hunt some wild creatures. This was based on the smuggling planet information stored in the ship's computer. I would aim for a more diverse range of gene essences there. While I was organizing my thoughts on what to do next, a message I had been waiting for appeared. Corrosion has been completed. As soon as the message appeared, my consciousness permeated the entire 300 meters wide massive structure on the battlefield. The feeling was somewhat different from when I dominated the escape pods, perhaps because the ship was so large. To define this feeling briefly, heaviness. It was as if I had become one with a giant creature, like a humpback whale, rather than entering the body of Amorph. It's much larger than a whale, though. As I concentrated my mind, I heard the sound of a beating heart in the center. Originally developed by the Star Union, the reactor now served as the heart of the integrated composite organism. I drew energy from the reactor and sent it to the cannons mounted on the ship's exterior. Plasma energy concentrated forcefully on the cannons at my will. A powerful projectile with destructive energy, surpassing the impact of my psychic breath, was launched. Feeling the heat of the incandescent projectile rising sharply, I smiled. Good. Let's get started. This ship was now mine. I'm not merciful enough to leave unauthorized guests alone. The Situation Room was bustling with more people than usual, but not a single sound could be heard. The 40 pirates were on high alert, ready to fight the monster that could attack them at any moment. The monster, as if deliberately planning to kill the pirates by surrounding them, had been motionless until now. Something's wrong. Suddenly, Milo thought. Could it be that the monster's true target was not the pirates but rather the siege in the Situation Room? No way. He bit down on the thought to shake off the ominous imagination. As much as he wanted to shout, everyone was too tense to allow for any distractions. Milo deliberately looked at the wall, attempting to divert his thoughts. The black wall, absorbing all light like a black hole, caught his eyes. Was it always like this? Star Union ships preferred black over white, opposite to Megacorp's preference, so the floors, walls, and ceilings were all in shades of black. However, even considering this fact, the color of the inner walls of the Situation Room felt darker than usual. Why did it suddenly change? Just as he questioned it, the entire power in the Situation Room went out. Ugh, ag. It's him. Calm down. Emergency lights will come on soon. As the Situation Room was a crucial facility, it had a backup power supply separate from the reactor. Just as Milo said, soon emergency lights bathed the entire Situation Room in red. Under the red light, the expressions of the pirates looked almost half like corpses. Milo himself, not sure about others, also looked miserable, with his fur soaked in sweat, typical of the wolf species. Milo reluctantly called the ship's AI computer. Calvin. Turn on the Situation Room computer too. Impossible. Power has been cut off from the reactor. Damn it. Sync it with the backup power. Understood. Soon, lights came on inside the Situation Room computers, but Milo and the pirates couldn't feel completely relieved. It was because they could hear a thumping sound from outside. They knew what that sound meant. Caw. Captain. Damn it. It was the sound of storm guns being fired. The monster was approaching through the corridor. Don't worry. A weapon that even mountain crawlers can't withstand, that's what storm guns are. The creature won't last. W. Will it, sir? The subordinates forced hopeful expressions, but it didn't take long for hope to disappear from their faces. Why isn't the gunfire stopping? Milo urgently checked the terminal connected to the storm guns. In the small screen, the ammunition was rapidly decreasing. The ammunition of the storm gun installed in the farthest area ran out and communication was cut off. In just a few seconds, the ammunition of the storm gun in the next area started to rapidly decrease. Caw. Captain. What the hell is this? At this point, Milo also found it difficult to keep his composure. Before the pirates entered the Situation Room, they had installed storm guns in each area and sealed all bulkheads. No matter how powerful the creature might be, it couldn't move this quickly, especially while consuming all the storm guns' depleted uranium rounds. I need to check this. He called the ship's AI, Calvin, again. Calvin. Connect to the area cameras. It's impossible. I command you again. Calvin. Connect the cameras and display them on the monitor. Squealing noise. Despite Milo's repeated commands, there was no response from Calvin. Instead, an annoying noise echoed through the room. Calvin. The camera. Squealing noise, Calvin is. Just as he was about to speak again, the speakers in the Situation Room were reactivated. The voice that followed was completely different from Calvin's, which was based on a female voice AI. Calvin. Is dead. What? You all will die too. A splitting male voice declared, and all lights in the Situation Room went out. Ah. Gaichh. You save me. Grrrr. In the complete darkness of the locked Situation Room, screams and the sounds of mutants pounding fists could be heard. It was a sign that everyone in the Situation Room was still alive, but that didn't last long. Utter silence engulfed Milo. As a species sensitive to smell, Milo, despite disliking it, could smell it. All of his subordinates had died. In the stifling atmosphere that felt like suffocation, he tremblingly turned on the terminal. A small light illuminated it in front of him. 6 appendages resembling jellyfish and snakes with mouths were rising from the floor, devouring the corpses. Sigh. The entity that boarded the ship surpassed his understanding far beyond reason and common sense. Having given up everything, Milo turned off the light on the terminal. I ate well. I patted my stomach with a pleasant sense of fullness. Although a morph doesn't get full easily, it somehow felt right to do so. This plan went smoothly from start to finish. After clearing all the pirates, including those on the pirate ship Calvin, the time I could maintain the ship increased significantly to 50 days. Eating the Hulk mutant really paid off. I was pleasantly surprised that every time I ate one, it extended my time by 10 days. Moreover, after devouring both, I gained 3 new traits. Big baby. Food. A lot. Since I could sustain for 50 days, I handed the remaining food to number 26 and Adha. Thanks to that, they could enjoy a feast after a long time. Now, shall I check the ship's computer? I accessed the ship's database. A vast amount of information flowed into my head through the tentacles of Corrosion. Among them, the first thing delivered to me was information about cosmic phenomena that occurred in the vicinity before I corroded the ship. Is there a rocky area nearby? I focused my senses on the outer hull, but I couldn't feel anything in particular. It's probably nothing. Huh. I tried to brush it off, but suddenly, a bad feeling crept in. Wait. I carefully read the detailed report on cosmic phenomena stored in the AI database. In summary, the report mentioned an abnormal group of meteoroids moving in an erratic orbit, concentrated by a special magnetic field. Moreover, this group of meteoroids was expected to enter this vicinity within the next 2 hours. No way. I know very well what this means. I urgently focused all my senses on the outer hull. My consciousness didn't stay only on the hull but spread to the surroundings. The time reported by the ship AI was 2 hours ago. Despite my highly developed senses, there was nothing visible or perceptible in the vastness of space. However, I detected something. At first, it looked like a shining star. No, it wasn't a star but white clouds. White clouds rapidly approaching. Oh, damn. The identity of those clouds was a swarm of metallic gremlins. The ship's natural enemy and cosmic marauders were now targeting us. Chapter 103. Space survival is a game set against the backdrop of the universe. There are various races that exist in it and each have its own unique characteristics. There are intelligent species that build civilizations and social communities like that of the humans, while there are also predatory races like the amorph that view all living beings as prey. However, the charm of space survival lies in the fact that players can enjoy a completely different gameplay depending on the race they choose. However, as mentioned earlier, space survival is a game set in space. Regardless of the chosen race, players must venture into space to progress in the game. So, what is the most threatening thing when first venturing into space? The community has identified 2 main threats. One is the space pirates generated as NPCs. They are set as hostile NPCs that relentlessly target the player's spaceship. Moreover, being NPCs means they regenerate infinitely no matter how many times they are killed. Therefore, For players newly venturing into space, figuring out how to protect their ships from space pirates became a crucial task. Fortunately, the good news is that unless the space pirates belonged to a higher-level cartel, they were not too difficult to defeat with a properly equipped and armed warship. The biggest threat to the players navigating through space was not the space pirates. It's the metallic gremlin swarm. This is a negative event that can only be faced with a fleet rather than a single ship. Unlike space pirates, metallic gremlins are also a playable race for the player. However, the metallic gremlin swarm appearing in this event consists entirely of NPCs. The fact that a metallic gremlin swarm appears with a very low probability in Sector I-97 was known. I didn't worry too much about it, considering the probability was as low as winning the lottery. Sector I-97 has an incredibly low probability for a metallic gremlin swarm to appear. It was so unlikely that I didn't worry about it too much, but now it has happened. This is bad. A white cloud? No, the metallic gremlin swarm was quickly approaching. It may look like a cloud, but those are metallic gremlins with silver skin gathered together, creating that appearance. In terms of scale, it's at least a medium-sized or a large swarm. It's impossible for a single ship to deal with it. Should I just stay still? Currently, I am in control of the pirate ship Colossal Raider that I conquered. Fortunately, metallic gremlins only target metal, so if I'm lucky, they might just pass me by. No. The risk of doing so is too great. Allowing them to approach me is too risky. If they suddenly attack me, it's over. Of course, I have superior defense capabilities compared to a regular ship, but there are too many of them on the other side. Their numbers exceed thousands, and there's a limit to what I can defend against. I have to fight here. There's no other way than to fight and take the opportunity to escape with warp speed navigation. Although one might think it's better to just flee, it's not easy. It's because of the higher-level species mixed within that group. Warp Boy. Among the metallic gremlin higher-level species, there's a creature called Warp Boy. Warp Boy has no abilities other than a unique special trait called Warp Guide, but its effect is very powerful. It's a massive teleportation. In this game, all abilities related to massive teleportation, such as a spaceship's warp navigation or the entity tuning used by Code Black, are restricted. Entity tuning, in particular, cannot be used alone, and warp navigation consumes a massive amount of energy, among other limitations. However, only 2 creatures have the ability to teleport a large number of individuals without any restrictions, and one of them is Warp Boy. There's even a large-scale, instantaneous teleportation. Among the Vortex ones, there's another with unrestricted teleportation, but encountering that entity was only possible in the late stages of the game. Paradoxically, Warp Boy, which can be encountered early in the game, is much more threatening. At least it's of intermediate size. That's a relief. In a large or greater herd, as they were called by the players, there may be multiple Warp Boys. However, in a medium-sized herd, there's only one Warp Boy. If I just take down that guy, I can safely evade the swarm. ZZZZZZZZ, help everyone. What happened? ZZZZZZZZ, enemy approaching. There's roughly less than 5 minutes left until the swarm reaches this place. During that time, we need to prepare to fight them. First, I briefly explain to Adha and number 26 how to deal with the enemies. ZZZZZZZZZZZ, Adha, restrain them. Understood. ZZZZZZZZZZZZZZ, quickly fly away when in danger. I assigned Adha, the only one among us capable of aerial combat in space, to directly engage the enemies. ZZZZZZZ and number 26, scare them. Scare them. Number 26's role was to halt or disrupt the movements of the enemies. Although metallic gremlins have extremely sturdy bodies, they are almost immune to psychic powers. While there were species among them that defend against psychic powers they are not present in this particular group. ZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZ, if both of you are in danger, hide here. I modified the ship's structure to create a cover and an entrance that Adha and number 26 can use to hide or escape into the ship if needed. After sending them off, I moved all the storm guns previously used by pirates outside the hull. It should work well with motion detection sensors. I replaced depleted ammunition and low battery levels using corroding tentacles. Creating a new turret, incorporating my traits, I utilized the contamination organ to make a biological weapon that fires fungus spores. Since the range is short, this is for medium and close range. After completing the inspection of the turrets, I checked the metallic gremlin swarm. They are about to enter the range of the plasma turrets. ZZZZZZZZZ, everyone, get ready. Yes. I am ready. I channeled energy to all plasma turrets installed on the hull. Destructive energy, capable of tearing through the void of space, surged into the alloy turrets, enabling the ship to operate smoothly even in the harsh cosmic environment. Fire. Numerous green beams shot towards the Gremlins. It resembled a comet with a green tail piercing through the white clouds in the night sky. Although many metallic gremlins were hit by the plasma energy and oxidized, many more filled the places of their fallen comrades. The enraged gremlin swarm swiftly approached me. I quickly scanned the swarm to locate where the warp boy was hiding. It's usually in the heart of the swarm. As if proving that my thoughts were wrong, a small blue light appeared near the extreme side of the swarm, however the creature quickly vanished inside. It's over there. The warp boy is smaller than a regular metallic gremlin, measuring only 50 centimeters, but it has blue stripes on its body, making it noticeable even from a distance. Catching it with a plasma turret will be difficult. Just now, judging by its movements, the warp boy's agility is much faster than I thought. Unless someone is tightly holding it back, capturing the warp boy doesn't seem easy. I have to wait until number 26 can invoke the terror of the abyss. Of course, I won't leave it and give it a chance and allow it to escape. I recharged the plasma turrets once again. As the energy was building up, the metallic gremlin swarm suddenly began to glow blue. Warp guide. I quickly focused on the thrusters at the rear of the hull. The energy intended for the turrets diverted to the thrusters, causing the entire ship to jolt forward. Reload the turrets while moving forward. From the darkness at the rear of our ship, the metallic gremlin swarm emerged, splashing blue light. Anticipating their pursuit, my cannons aimed at the spot where they appeared and spewed out fire. On the black canvas that absorbed all light, green and blue paints intertwined. Although the two lights clashed, the advantage went to the blue cloud, the side of the metallic gremlins. They had achieved their goal. The metallic gremlins relentlessly pursued my tail. As they got closer, their grotesque appearance became vivid. Creatures with smooth silver skin, devoid of fur, with only a circular mouth for a face, bared their teeth as they rushed towards me. It wasn't particularly pleasant to witness. As they approached within effective range, the storm guns attached to the outer hull activated. Uranium hexafluoride stormed down upon them like a tempest. While their skin was resistant enough to withstand laser weapons, it was a different story in front of the storm guns. It was impossible to endure hundreds of rounds the size of an adult male's palm exploding simultaneously. The metallic gremlins targeting me burst one by one upon contact with the projectiles. Their unique silver blood adorned the darkness like the Milky Way. Some metallic gremlins seemed determined not to give up. Fueled by the blood of their kind, they pursued me with even more ferocity. Next is the plasma turret. The cannons mounted on the ship fired first. Those hit twice scattered instantly as if they wouldn't be hit a third time. Only a few sluggish ones became ashes within the plasma beams. While the overheated turrets took a break, the metallic gremlins rushed in again. It's not over yet. Judging that they were close enough, I prepared the next weapon. Fungus spores shot out from the elongated turret holes on the upper part of the hull. The metallic gremlins seemed unsure if the unfamiliar fungus spores were an attack. The spores entered the gremlin swarm without any resistance. Like balloons filled with flour exploding, the spores burst, and the contaminated fungi clung to the gremlins. The ugly faces of the metallic gremlins infected with black fungus twisted in pain. Some couldn't withstand the pain and attached themselves to their kin, allowing the fungus to spread. Good. If it continues like this. Oh no. I was enjoying the success more than I expected when the warp boy responded. The bodies of the infected gremlins shone blue, and soon they fell into the vastness of space far away. Even those not infected were ignored by the warp boy and were thrown away. I fired the spores again, but this time the gremlins, warned by the warp boy, didn't approach the trajectory of the spores at all. Smarter than in the game. The warp boy's intelligence surpasses my expectations. Its adaptability to the situation and commanding ability to control the swarm are commendable. Annoying, but I still have some secret cards left. During the firing of the storm guns and plasma beams, a green entity shot out from my ship. Hunting. Commence. She was Green Galagon Adha. She swiftly flew towards the enemies, tearing through them with purple lightning faster than the bullets fired by the storm guns. Metallic gremlins, not immune to psychic powers, trembled as they were struck by the supernatural lightning. Dealing with those unable to move was left to the uranium hexafluoride rounds and plasma beams. Warp Boy attempted to move some of the swarm near my ship. At the moment when several gremlins among them began to shine blue, what I had been waiting for arrived. Here it comes. A fear crawled up from the depths. Hundreds of tentacles, surpassing the size of planets, emerged from the space below the hull. The overwhelmed metallic gremlins, in unison, ceased their movements. And beyond the tentacles, a giant eye appeared in the midst of the abyss of that galaxy, beginning to observe them. Panic erupted among the confused entities. Since they had no eyes, they would feel differently from what I was seeing. However, the fear from the depths directly affected their minds. They would feel the overwhelming size of those tentacles throughout their entire bodies. It must be much scarier than seeing it directly. As I expected, several dozen of the frozen gremlins broke away from the swarm. Having encountered the awe-inspiring fear, their hearts had stopped beating. It's not that they are cowards. Even though I knew their true identity, I felt a chilling sensation in my abdomen when the tentacles rose from below my body. Soon, the appearance of the tentacles disappeared in an instant. Number 26 adjusted to ensure that the abyssal fear did not affect me and Adha. However, due to its still inexperienced use of abilities, some metallic gremlins awoke from the illusion. Among them was the Warp Boy. Warp Boy seemed to think I would fire the beams and tried to move its body inside the swarm. There's no more time to hesitate. I quickly fired the cannons. Green, elongated beams pierced through the swarm. Although Warp Boy's arm was turned to ashes by the passing beams, it was not dead yet. Warp Boy's body glowed with a blue light. It probably intended to escape. It's not over yet. The hull changed its appearance instantly according to my will. Large and thick tentacle clusters emerged from the corroded front of the ship. The newly formed tentacles glowed purple simultaneously. The monstrous tentacles that protruded from the ship consumed not only my mental power but also drew energy stored inside the ship. As an immense amount of energy concentrated on the ship's front, a purple sphere took shape. Its size was different from when I used the psychic power in its original state. The essence of the shining psychic power was in my hands. Adha, who had escaped the range of the psychic breath, hastily returned to the hull. Smart Warp Boy detected what I was planning and prepared for FTL travel. Instead of its body shining, the bodies of the surrounding gremlins glowed blue at the same time. At the same time, the purple sphere turned into a single line, cutting through space at faster than light speed. Half of the white cloud that was in front of me disappeared without a trace as if it had never existed. However, I had no time to rejoice. Oh no. Before Warp Boy died, it initiated faster than light travel for its kind. Although it turned to dust due to the psychic breath, its brethren succeeded in making a spatial leap. However, half of the metallic gremlins clung to the hull. The battle was not over yet. Chapter 104. The metallic gremlins cling to the hull. They tore through the ship with their sharp fangs. It's too late to dodge. I quickly generated corrosion tentacles on the outer wall of the hull. My tentacles rushed at them along with projectiles launched from the storm gun. Numerous tentacles clung to the metallic gremlins, tearing off their limbs or swallowing them whole. The already existing contaminated fungus turrets on the outer wall relentlessly spewed fungi spores. Adha, who had returned to the hull, and number 26, wielding the terror of the abyss, fought against them too. Adha transformed into a green lightning, disrupting the gremlins, while number 26 bound the gremlins in the trajectory of storm gun's shots. The black hull shimmered with silver blood sprayed by the metallic gremlins. That's how we defended against the metallic gremlin horde, but it wasn't going to be easy. There are too many. I dismissed the recurring text boxes. Consuming a massive number of metallic gremlins kept triggering the predation effect. Most were either the metal predation which I already possessed or the insufficient digestion trait that I didn't need. Still, I managed to secure a few useful traits among them. It would have been great if they came at any other time. The situation isn't favorable now. Despite reducing their numbers by half with psychic breath, the gremlins still numbered in hundreds. Killing them seemed futile as their numbers showed no sign of decreasing, and Storm Gun's ammunition is depleted too. At this rate, we'll be annihilated. While we were killing hundreds, another batch was tearing the hull apart, rendering it in a shabby state. ZZZZZZZZZZ, come back everyone. There's no more time to delay. If we wait any longer, using FTL, faster than light, travel will become difficult. FTL travel can be risky if the hull is heavily damaged, as the ship may shatter into pieces during the journey due to the strain on the hull. There are still many of them, but Over 100 metallic gremlins were still clinging to the hull, but there's no other choice. Big guy. There are too many of these bastards. Enemy infinite US blood? I checked if number 26 and Adha, who approached me, were okay. They seemed tired from fighting non-stop with numerous enemies. Fortunately, apart from minor injuries, they didn't seem heavily wounded. Now that the kids are here, let's get ready. I modified the ship's structure, thickening the walls of the section where we were and the walls of important facilities like the reactor. Then, I diverted the remaining energy in the reactor to start the FTL engine. Even as the engine prepared to start, the metallic gremlins continued to assault relentlessly. With Adha and number 26 absent on the hull, defending against the gremlins' attacks was becoming increasingly difficult. I did my best to fend them off with the corrosive tentacles, but they sneakily crawled onto the ship. They wreaked havoc on the internal facilities as if it were their own world. If there were more of them, we might have lost the reactor before the FTL engine could start. Just as they were gnawing at the reactor's outer wall, the ship's heart signaled that all preparations were complete. All right. Finally, the FTL engine roared to life. The destination was an area frequented by smugglers, and near our arrival point was a jungle-type planet inhabited by various rare creatures. A blue light enveloped not only us but also the entire ship, and the starlight in the distance warped strangely. Everyone inside and outside the ship jumped into space together. Ugh! The moment I realized this, an immense pressure hit me from above. It was due to the shock caused as the ship entered the realm of FTL beyond the speed of light. Even the escape pods didn't experience this level of intensity, so was it because the ship was larger or damaged by metallic gremlins? The ship, protected by sturdy alloys and special mucus created for corrosion, twisted like a pretzel. Since my body was connected to control the ship, I could feel that the pressure on the hull was abnormal. I spread my senses even more intimately into the slime covering the alloy walls to check the overall condition of the ship. As a result, a pain akin to my entire body being twisted struck my brain. Pain nullification activated. I wanted to immediately disconnect the sensory organs, but I had to monitor the ship's condition constantly, so it was impossible for me to disconnect them. I'll barely hold on. If the ship had torn apart, it would have broken much earlier. At this rate, I might be able to endure until we land on the planet. However, enduring it and the pain were separate issues. Even though pain reduction was activated, the agonizing pain that felt like my entire body was being squeezed continued, making it difficult to stay focused. Big baby. Hang in there. Great adult. I sensed waves of encouragement from No. 26 and Adha. Encouraged by their cheers, I gritted my teeth once again. I've never died in the game like this. If news of me being defeated by metallic gremlins spread in the gaming community, no one would believe it. Somehow regaining my composure amidst the pain, I created corrosive tentacles on the outer wall. The gremlins were bewildered as tentacles protruded from the partially damaged ship. I manipulated the tentacles to strike them. I need to tidy up as much as possible before we arrive. It's difficult to dislodge those inside the hull, but not those outside. Gremlins hit by the tentacles while on the outer wall screamed pitifully as they were flung somewhere in the vastness of space. Though they showed signs of wanting to retaliate, they couldn't move recklessly. One wrong move, and I could end up like my fellow beings hit by the tentacles, falling from the ship. The problem lies with those inside. Slyly, they stopped infiltrating the reactor as soon as the ship entered FTL. Probably because they knew it would be a big problem if the reactor exploded midway. But I won't leave them alone. There are many who are ready to attack as soon as we arrive. It's tough, but I have to somehow reduce their numbers. I created small turrets firing contaminated spores in various places inside the ship, following the tentacles. The ones gnawing at the walls inside turned their attention to the new threat. I cleared the ones on the outer wall with corroding tentacles and countered those inside with spore bursts. Checking the hull's condition, controlling the tentacles, and managing the decay fungus mechanisms, all of it demanded so much attention that my head felt like it would explode. After a chaotic struggle, the seemingly never-ending FTL journey finally ended. We've arrived. Beyond the darkness enveloping us, a blue planet came into view. It's the planet pirates infiltrate for capturing rare animals. Great. Just hold on a bit longer. Carrying metallic gremlins inside, I entered the planet's atmosphere. The entire outer wall burned fiercely, and intense heat penetrated inward. Screech. Metallic gremlins screamed in the scorching heat. It was not because of pain. In outer space, metallic gremlins exhibit tremendous power, but once they enter a planet, they become extremely vulnerable. Setting-wise, metallic gremlins have almost no eyes or sense of smell but use metal-detecting organs to find prey. Therefore, when entering a planet with a large amount of mixed metal, their excellent metal-detecting ability becomes a disadvantage. Confusion sets in due to the overwhelming detection of metal from the surroundings. Moreover, they can only glide in the planet's atmosphere and lack the propulsion to return to space. In other words, once they enter a planet, they cannot go back to space. The remaining future for metallic gremlins trapped on a planet is aimlessly wandering and eventually being preyed upon by other predators. They are aware of this fact, which is why they are rampaging. Chaotic. Making bizarre noises, they were trying to escape outside. Utilizing their teeth and claws to scratch the walls closer to the exterior, attempting to get out somehow. That won't work. These guys have been bothering me so much until now. Should I let them escape? I can't. I didn't let the ones trying to escape using corrosive tentacles, swallowing them while continuously changing their positions within the space they were in. As their positions kept shifting, even if they broke through the wall, they could only struggle within the ship. Thus, I ravaged the metallic gremlins and entered the planet's atmosphere. The blue sea islands dotted like points in between, and a land covered with dense jungle appeared in the distance. If various environments are mixed, the types of organisms inhabiting them will also be diverse. This means that the range of genetic essence I can acquire has widened. I looked around to see where on the ground we would land, and an unpleasant scene flashed before me. The main gun of the colossal raider was intercepted. The ship gets split in two, which was an irreparable damage. The reactor exploded. I died. What? Realizing that what just passed was a future vision by the Predator's sense, I quickly turned the ship to the right. A massive energy beam flew from the land towards the rear of the ship, blowing away the propulsion and control room. Oh no. Although the ship was under my control, maintaining high-altitude flight was impossible with the propulsion gone. The ship carrying me and the kids broke free from control and began a rapid descent. I quickly checked what was at the point where we were crashing. It was a shallow sea adjacent to the land. If it's the main gun of a cruiser, there's a delay. If we crash into the sea before that. But the mysterious enemy seemed to have no intention of letting me land safely. Diamond-shaped fighter jets emerged from the jungle inside the land. What's going on? The information left on this ship indicated that no other faction besides pirates would come here. At least, there was no record of the pirates I devoured engaging with other factions on this planet. Other pirates. Seeing them attacking without hesitation, it was clear they were higher-ups from a cartel rather than the owners of this merchant ship. Of all days, other pirates show up when I'm here. A new gang of pirates on top of the gremlin horde, consecutive misfortunes are hitting. Stay calm. Going on like this, we'll all die. I'll lament about the misfortune later. Right now, I need to get through the immediate crisis. If we don't land before the main gun activates, it's over. However, the enemy fighter jets won't leave me alone to land safely. With the current damage to the ship, they'll easily be destroyed by the plasma bullets fired by the fighter jets. At least I can withstand it. As long as the reactor doesn't explode in the air, I won't die. However, the same cannot be said for the kids with me now. I need to get the kids out first. The problem is whether those fighter jets will leave the kids alone. If by any chance they aim and shoot at Adha and number 26, the kids will be in great danger. Adha can fly away, but number 26 can't. Since there's a sea here, let's send the kids away first. The sea is number 26's home ground. If it goes into the water, it can escape with Adha. In my case, I could easily secure a new means of escape while devouring metallic gremlins earlier. Therefore, even if I stay on the ship until the end after sending the kids away, I can still escape. How can I attract attention? While pondering if there was any solution, one idea came to mind. The guys causing a commotion inside my ship, the metallic gremlins. I had to use them. I altered the structure of the ship, creating a large hole on one side of the wall. Outside the hole, the blue sea was clearly visible, and the scent of the sea rushed in, filling the space. ZZZZZZZ, you guys go first. Big baby. Great adult. I transformed the shapes of the metal walls to encase number 26 and Adha. Number 26, who quickly understood what I was trying to do, emitted a signal. Let's go together. ZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZit's dangerous. It's dangerous. Without answering, I focused on how the situation outside was changing. The fighter jets were gradually getting closer to the ship. Okay. When the plasma launcher attached to the fighter jets aimed at the ship, I cleared away part of the wall inside the ship. Then, the metallic gremlins inside rushed out. They flew at the same speed they were running, sticking to the fighter jets. Now, to protect number 26 and Adha, I swung the metallic sphere I had created with tentacles. Just before the sphere separated, a thin tentacle emerged from number 26 and touched my auxiliary organ. At that moment, I could feel his thoughts. Fear of what would happen in the future, helplessness at not being able to do anything, and a desperate plea not to die. To the message of these complex emotions, I replied like this: I will never die and we will meet again soon. Promise. At the moment it shouted, the sphere separated. The sphere that surrounded Adha and number 26 was ejected out of the ship through the pre-made hole. I concentrated my mind to ensure they safely landed in the sea. The fighter jets did not react at all to the falling metal sphere, probably disoriented by the gremlins. Done. Everything I could do from the ship was over. After releasing the corrosive tentacles, I headed towards the hole where the sphere had popped out. And I jumped out of the ship. In the distance, I could see the heat rays from the main gun coming in the jungle. The heat rays mercilessly pierced the ship, and a tremendous explosion engulfed me. Pain nullification activation. Ugh. In the midst of the blazing flames, I spread out all my combat arms and tail. I used one of the characteristics I gained by devouring the metallic gremlin earlier, the wings, to enable stable flight at high altitudes. Wings aids in stable flight at high altitudes. A slender membrane unfolded between my combat arms and extended to the middle of my tail, and my body floated upward, riding the airflow. Although the wings imitated the flight forms of wingsuits or flying squirrels, it wouldn't remind anyone of an amorph with 4 arms and a long tail. While reducing the descent speed, I soared through the sky, and the fighter jets followed closely behind. Plasma blasts they fired grazed over my head and back. I quickly retracted the membrane attached to my arms. My body began to fall rapidly, and the fighter jets also accelerated to pursue me. Caught you. Expanding the wings again, I closed the distance with the powerful fighter jets. Once again, I utilized a characteristic obtained from the metallic gremlin. Electromagnetic interference emits waves causing temporary malfunctions in devices powered by electricity. That characteristic was none other than electromagnetic interference, one of the ingredients for hijacking. Waves disrupting machinery emanated from the double plates rising on my back, enveloping nearby fighter jets. Their power shut down instantly, and they began to free fall helplessly. Just before they crashed, a scene of unexpected events unfolded behind the reinforced glass. The pilots seemed unsure of what to do before the crashing jets. Having neutralized the fighter jets, I used the wings to swiftly fly into the jungle. The effect of electromagnetic interference won't last long. If they had a skilled pilot, they would regain control of the fighter jets quickly. One of the falling jets swiftly took off again, while the others crashed into the forest. Although the pursuing fighter jet tried to follow me, I was already close to a dense grove full of tall trees. Folding the wings, I smashed through the trees and landed safely inside the jungle. After toppling numerous trees, I could land safely. As soon as I landed, I hid my body under the fallen tree trunks. When the following fighter jet mistook me for a rock and attempted to proceed, I used the terror gaze toward the pilots. Where are you going? The seemingly intact fighter jet abruptly changed direction, crashing into a tree. The half-damaged jet staggered in place for a moment before crashing to the ground. 2 pilots crawled out of the crashed jet. One had horns, probably a cultist, and the other was human. Appearing disoriented from the impact of the crash, they began running as soon as they saw me reveal myself. Both had no intention of escaping, so I released corrosive tentacles to restrain them. Wait. W. Wait. S. Save us. The restrained pilots struggled. In normal circumstances, I might have used parasites or something for leverage and used them, but at the moment, I had no such intentions. Chapter 105. I've told you everything I know. Please. Spare me. A human pilot, dominated by the parasites, was currently pleading to me to leave him alive. Chewing on the arm of a cultist pilot, I sent a signal to a group of tooth fairies. The carnivorous fleas surrounded the pilots joyfully and rushed towards them. Don't do this. No, don't do this. The pilots of the crashed fighter jets are all taken care of. I found myself on the planet PH-101, specifically in the Utopia 2 continent. Its ecosystem resembled that of the primitive Earth, providing favorable conditions for life. However, the planet's beauty was only surface deep. It's a blue hell. Creatures of this planet possess formidable strength, making it nearly impossible for average players to hunt or even survive here. Around the region's rich and valuable resources, hostile wolf NPCs live. They also have their own name. They're on a whole different level than what I've encountered before. Named wolves are exceptionally powerful, posing a challenge for even someone as strong as me. Conquering this planet is difficult without the skills of a high-ranking player or a large clan. On the flip side, even top-tier players or large clans can't monopolize this planet. PH-101 is protected by a cult for religious reasons, preventing any construction or serious development to be done here by the other factions. Even cult players can only stay here for a limited time. I chose this planet for a reason. PH-101 allows me to secure superior genetic essence without interference from other factions. Originally, that's how it should be. However, interrogating a pilot revealed that a deviation had occurred, which went against the game's norm. Currently, a powerful cartel named Humanity has occupied this planet among the space outlaws. It's unusual, considering that space outlaw cartels often have leaders with names representing their identity. And it's called Humanity. Before quitting space survival, there was a clan led by a ranker with a similar name. Strangely, the clan leader was a woman, and the members were exclusively male, leading to a lot of criticism in the community. Not something I, the community's enemy, should comment on. Anyway, it seems Humanity Cartel's ability to occupy this place can be speculated upon. As seen with the cult pilot I just devoured, most of Humanity's members are cultists. This allows the Humanity Cartel to move freely on this planet. In a game, this would be impossible, but in reality, it introduces a new variable. Furthermore, the leader has connections with the cult's ruling class. That means the leader of Humanity is at least a high-ranking cultist, surpassing the Yak Horn cult. I don't need to know why someone like that would engage in piracy. Thanks to that, I can collect genetic essences, fulfill evolution conditions, and kill 2 birds with 1 stone. I finished consuming the remnants of the cultist and retrieved the tooth fairies. According to the pilot's words, Humanity periodically leaves this planet due to smuggling activities. If they have a ship, it would be easier for me to leave too. There are approximately 14 days until the pirates depart. I need to seize a ship before they leave. But before that, I activated the semi-transparent text box. Species, unidentified aggressive space morph. Status, pre-saint, Transcendence level 1. Objective, survive, 2nd evolution successful. Possess traits, 14 in physical related /7 in psychic related /5 in infection related /3 in special defense related /1 in nest related. Physical related traits, type in use, wings unavailable, acidic blood, bite force, metal absorption, perfect organism, unique, endurance, pheromone enhancement, enhanced reflexes. Physique related fusion traits, regeneration, neurotoxin glands, mimicry organ unavailable, blood-sucking tentacles, spine projectile organ, hijacking. Psychic related traits, type in use, human nature, psychic resistance, insight. Psychic related fusion traits, predator senses, ghost claws, observer of fear. Infection-related, space bacteria, infection reinforcement. Infection-related fusion traits, parasitic colony, decaying mold organ, tooth fairy nest. Special defense-related, pain reduction, resistance. Special defense-related fusion traits, protective coloration. Nest-related, horizon of nightmares, unique. Possess types 2, physique enhancement type, psychic enhancement type. Specialization possible types 3, infection enhancement type, 5/8, special defense enhancement type, 3/4, nest enhancement type, 1/4. Incomplete traits, 5 energy absorption, robust vitality, miniaturization, gills, fins. I acquired numerous useful traits while hunting the Hulk mutants of the Colossal Raider and the metallic Gremlins in Sector I-97. For instance, the protective coloration trait, synthesized from traits obtained from the Rhino Hulk mutant and the metallic Gremlin. Currently, my outer shell and exoskeleton are covered in small, almost invisible scales. If I crouch and stay still for 10 seconds, these scales automatically shift, changing the color of my body. It transforms to resemble the surrounding environment. The reason the crashed fighter jet couldn't spot me when hiding under the wreckage was thanks to this protective coloration. Not a complete change, but it evades any detection equipment. I currently possess the electromagnetic interference trait. While enemies at a long distance outside the interference range may not detect me, those close by will find it challenging to locate me. Apart from the bone knife and infection reinforcement trait obtained from the gorilla-like Hulk mutant and the reinforced absorption trait from the metallic gremlin, I applied strength to the upper right arm of my combat arm. Instead of the blood-sucking tentacle protruding from the palm, a peculiar-shaped razor-sharp bone emerged. Similar in form to the arms used for symbols of hunting, there were some differences. The bone blade attached to the arms was thin and sharp, ideal for slashing and stabbing like glass. In contrast, the bone axe was thick and heavy, specialized for crushing enemies like a cookery knife. As always, new weapons are always welcome. After retrieving the bone axe, I climbed up the tree using my combat arm and leg. Originally, an amorph had mechanisms attached to the inside of his feet, similar to cushions used when insects stick to walls. However, due to the Horizon of Nightmares effect, my body became heavier, making it difficult to climb walls. Fortunately, a good trait emerged. Tiny suction cups formed on my hands and feet, helping me easily crawl up trees. The tree I was climbing could withstand my weight well, as there are much larger trees in this continent than the redwood trees, which are considered the largest on Earth. Reaching the top of the tree, an endless jungle unfolded. In the cloudless sky, dragon-like creatures flew, and from the jungle below, the cries of beasts echoed. Seeing a deeply dug part where the blue sky and green jungle met, it was undoubtedly the location of a fired battleship. Turning my gaze in the opposite direction, I saw the horizon filled with blue. Number 26 and Adha must be in that sea. Let's go pick them up after it's safe here. There's a reason not to bring them along when facing formidable enemies. In PH-101, there are many dangerous creatures, so bringing them with me would make them prone to injuries. Also, it would be difficult for me to protect them when I am fighting pirates or any other dangerous creature. In the past, I might have used them as bait. Now, I also have a bond with them. If number 26 and Adha suffer severe injuries or die, I honestly can't guarantee that I'll be able to maintain my rationality. In the jungle, patience wins the battles. Emotional fluctuation leads to defeat. The sea is number 26's home ground, so it should be safer than here. Adha, too, would find it more comfortable near clear beaches or islands with fewer obstacles for flying than in the dense jungle. They both are smart beings. Once I take care of the pirates here, I'll go pick them up. With these thoughts, I jumped down from the top. There's a small pirate camp nearby. Descending halfway down the tree, I extended the corrosion tentacle to move to another tree. From below, I felt the movements of creatures in the forest, ranging from insect-like beings to colossal dinosaur-like creatures exceeding tens of meters, all wandering through the woods. The term monster is by no means an exaggeration. Here on PH-101, even small creatures like newborns can easily kill armed soldiers. Eating them should pose no problem until the next evolution. Of course, having roamed around here in the game, I know exactly what creatures inhabit this place and how to conquer them. While moving between trees, a creature resembling a mix of a monkey and a bat attacked me from above. It was a creature called Wood Devil, hiding on the branches like this, waiting to ambush passing creatures and devour them. Although positioned in the lower tier of the planetary food chain, Wood Devils earned the nickname Newbie Slaughterer due to their swift movements, strong muscles, and decent intelligence. The problem is that I'm not a newbie. I knew that the creature had its sights on me long before. Without even turning my head, I flicked my tail, sending out barbs. Kick. The creature, frozen in the posture of leaping down, attempted to fall to the ground. The corrosion tentacle from my back shot out, catching the falling creature. Next, I extracted the blood-sucking tentacle from my combat arm and swung it towards the tree on the opposite side. Kick. The Wood Devil, disguised with the help of leaves, struggled as it was caught by the blood-sucking tentacle. When I applied force to the tentacle, the creature's bones snapped and its entire body contorted grotesquely. One was leisurely swallowed by the corrosion tentacle, and the other, while feeding on blood with the blood-sucking tentacle, didn't make me lose my vigilance. There should be one more. Wood Devils always hunt in groups of 3. As expected, I saw another Wood Devil that had been on a diagonal tree fleeing. Kick. Holding 2 of them, I slammed the tree. My body soared through the gap between the trees, reaching the fleeing creature. Kick. The Wood Devil looked up at me as it swiftly approached. An axe bone from my upper right hand struck its head, shattering it. As the creature tried to fall with its head severed, I quickly wrapped it with my tail. Easy. I opened my mouth wide and bit into the headless Wood Devil. Though my jaw strength has decreased due to using the chewing power trait as material, I could still easily tear apart a Wood Devil. It tastes healthy. The meat of the Wood Devil had a cheap soy meat taste. Whether it was eating plant lizards in the space city or similar beings with plant or tree-related names, they all had this kind of taste. Wood devils are carnivores, but why does it taste like soy meat? Soy meat is just a name, it probably doesn't contain any actual meat. While pondering about such trivial thoughts, I finished eating the remaining carcasses. As I was about to eat the one hanging from the blood-sucking tentacle, another predator appeared, drawn by the scent of blood. The creature, with a leopard's body and spider's legs, was called a night stalker, possessing the material trait of a tail with shooting thorns. The creature, with 8 legs, swiftly darted towards me. Its venom won't work on me. I had to fight it differently than I did with the wood devils, which I incapacitated with thorn bristles. I remained still without resistance. The creature that rushed at me bared its thick fangs and attempted to bite my neck. No, it tried to bite me. If my exoskeleton wasn't tough, I would have been in trouble from its fangs. The venom of the Night Stalker is more deadly than the neurotoxin I possess. Its rapid spread makes it difficult to use an antidote. It might be difficult to escape death even with immunity to the venom. But such a potent venom must enter the opponent's body to be useful. The fangs of the Night Stalker aren't sharp enough to pierce through my robust exoskeleton, more durable than the outer wall of a spaceship. Creonk. Only then did the creature realize something was wrong and tried to retreat, but it was too late. With my 4 combat arms, I had a firm grip on its body. Holding the creature, I exerted force through the forearms. Due to my powerful strength, the Night Stalker crumpled like an empty plastic bottle. Although the creature's organs spilled out from its rear, I used the corrosion tentacle to suck them all up without leaving a trace. PR/NY am I getting a bad feeling here? Certainly, there's no time to rest in this place. While the corrosion tentacle was absorbing the organs, I chewed on the Night Stalker's main body. Interestingly, this one tasted like a croissant. Since the corrosion tentacle has no taste buds, I couldn't discern the flavor of the organs, but it probably wasn't croissant like originally. After thoroughly licking the blood that splattered on the tree, I continued my journey. After breaking through a few more attacks, I suddenly found myself near the pirates' camp. Conveniently, the sun was setting in the jungle. Chapter 106. It's a small campsite. As the deceased pilot described, the scale of the campsite wasn't that large. When combining the roaming personnel and those detected by the auxiliary organ, there were only around 10 people. However, the issue wasn't the number of individuals. There's a walker. A bipedal, open-type weapon system, standing 6 meters tall, lay beside the tent at the campsite. The walker was a robot weapon used by the Star Union. The model present at the campsite was a light walker, mainly used for reconnaissance and as infantry support. Despite its open design providing limited defense, it compensated with storm guns in both hands, making its firepower formidable. There are no cyborgs at the campsite. Walkers require a cyborg to operate, connecting with a special device called a brain connector to control the machine with their mind. Judging by the absence of the faint electronic waves typical of cyborgs in the vicinity, it seemed like someone had modified the walker for human use. Moreover, the campsite's walker had a storm gun only in the left hand, with the right arm replaced by a crane-like mechanical device, likely modified for resource collection and item transport. After attacking so recklessly, they seemed confident. Pirates operating even modified walkers on a cult cruiser, that was unexpected. If they had walkers at a small campsite, there likely were many more near the headquarters or leader's dock. Besides, the extent of their arsenal was still unknown. They're certainly overflowing with confidence. With this level of firepower, they would be classified as a top cartel even in the game. Although they are enemies, I acknowledge their strength. But that doesn't mean I can't defeat them. Summoning the Tooth Fairy swarm, I quietly descended from the tree. As I approached the campsite, pirates with lit torches stood guard, vigilant. After sending the Tooth Fairy swarm to the opposite side of the pirates, I prompted them to make noise. Huh. The moment he turned his head upon hearing rustling sounds. Wah. I grabbed his head with corrosive tentacles and pulled him sharply, leaving only the gun he was holding in that spot. Where did this guy go? Hey. Did he go to pee? A moment later, 2 other pirates approached. I aimed spine projectile organ at the one behind them. Huh. I grabbed the collapsed pirate by his throat and approached the other one. Huh. What? When he turned at the sound of footsteps, a bone axe swung down on his shoulder. Struck by the bone axe, he collapsed on the ground. Stepping inside from the warmth radiating from the spilled entrails on the ground, I entered the campsite. In the center of the camp, a pirate sat by the bonfire, grilling meat. He had plugs in his ears, so he remained oblivious to what was happening behind him. Approaching him quietly until I reached right behind him, I opened my mouth wide and engulfed his head entirely. The startled pirate struggled, but his resistance was short-lived. When I forcefully lifted his head with tension in his jaw, a cultist pirate walked out of another tent. Huh. Gurgle. The cultist, adorned with goat horns, stood still as if unable to comprehend the situation. I swallowed the upper half of the pirate while swaying my tail. Grrrrrrr. With thorn spikes embedded in his neck, he collapsed, making a deflating sound. Ah. 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 Then, with screams, another pirate emerged from a different tent, covered in blood. While I was dealing with the pirates, the tooth fairy swarm had sneaked into another tent and attacked the pirates inside. The pirate, bleeding, tried to escape upon seeing me, but the tooth fairies didn't let him go. With carnivorous fleas leaping onto him, he couldn't bear the assault and collapsed on the ground. IHHH. What the hell is that noise? Ugh. Hearing the screams of their comrade, the other pirates peeked out from their tents and were astonished by the slaughterhouse I had created. Swallowing the chef pirate and charging towards the pirate inside the tent, the force packed in the 5-meter structure was truly frightening. The tent shattered like bowling pins hit by a bowling ball, and the pirates inside crumpled instantly. While their comrades were torn apart, a pirate who had been moving stealthily successfully boarded a walker. You bastard. You're gone now. The pirate on the walker wore a peculiar equipment. It resembled reinforced armor but covered only the head and chest, with multiple devices resembling plugs attached to the back of the neck. He's connecting with a brain connector using that. Such equipment didn't exist in the game. It was quite interesting, but that was something to check later. As the 6-meter walker rose from the ground, aiming its storm gun at me, the pirate controlling it had a triumphant expression. He probably believed that the depleted uranium rounds loaded in that storm gun would tear me apart. However, his hopes would never come true. The radio waves emanating from the panel on my back disrupted the walker's electrical signals, causing it to stop functioning. Huh? Wah? What's happening? As the once agile walker stopped working, the pirate shouted in a bewildered voice. The effects of the electromagnetic interference weren't long-lasting, so I extended my combat arm and pulled him out of the cockpit. Thud. Lifelessly sprawled on the ground by my hand, the pirate was bleeding profusely. I paralyzed him with thorns because I wanted to leisurely examine the clothes he was wearing. The remaining pirate, aiming at me, was shivering out of fear. The weapon he held, perhaps to impress as a wealthy pirate, was a Gauss rifle. As I turned my head, he pulled the trigger. A tungsten bullet struck my exoskeleton fiercely, colliding with it. It was unfortunate for the pirate, but the bullet couldn't even leave a scratch on my exterior. As the deformed tungsten fell to the ground, the pirate's mouth gaped in shock. As I approached him, he staggered backward, eventually sitting down with a thud. I raised the bone axe high. Why? It was rare for someone to be alive after their head was split. After dealing with the last pirate, I summoned the Tooth Fairy swarm. 3 captured alive. The rest were all killed. I gathered the captured and deceased pirates in the center of the camp. Without anyone to contact at the base, they'll soon realize that their comrades over there have also met their fate. Before this night is over, they'll come looking. After making it this far through all the hardships, I guess I should give them a gift. A gift with the name of terror. Originally, among the space cartels, there was no concept of ranks or a hierarchy. With various races gathered together, and most cartel leaders prioritizing their pride even if they die, the concept of serving one another didn't exist. However, there are undeniably powerful cartels that can be considered close to kings or nobility due to the strength among the space cartels. On the Utopia 2 continent of the P-101 planet, Humanity Cartel was one of such powerful cartels. The Humanity Cartel, considered one of the 5 fingers among the space cartels, was unique not only in name. Boss. What is it? We're unable to contact Camp 21 and Camp 17. Dylan, the charismatic leader, lying halfway on a bed and eating skewered meat, furrowed his handsome brows at the words of his assistant. 21 and 17. Yes. What's that? That electronic ping pong. Something like that. Is it because of that? If you mean electromagnetic storms, then no, I don't think it is because of that. You son of a bee, are you boasting about being smart in front of me? Oh, no. As a curse erupted from the mouth of Dylan, the The slender and handsome cult leader, the assistant, immediately bowed his head. Dylan, holding the skewer, contemplated whether to stab his subordinate with it and then spoke. 21 and 17. Those are outlying camps, right? Yes. There are no dangerous animals there. Could it be the remnants of the ones we downed earlier today? I'm not sure about that. Dylan finished swallowing the skewered meat and then flicked his hand. Send some suitable guys to check it out. Yes, your wise judgment. I know, buddy. The assistant bowed his head and exited the tent. The fiery glow from the massive blaze illuminated the surroundings of the tent where the cult leader resided. The source of the fire was not a simple bonfire. One of the villages of the wolves, which had existed for centuries on the Utopia 2 continent, was burning due to the pirates. Scream. IHHH. Pirates, composed of cult members and humans, roamed around, setting fire to traditional houses or dragging out the wolves inside. One peculiar point was that all the looting pirates were handsome men who did not fit the image of evildoers. Let the good-looking ones go to the leader alive. Yes. As for the women, do as you please. As someone shouted, the pirates, capturing handsome male wolves and young children, filled their necks with electric necklaces and took them captive. Hee hee, O guardian deity. Ugh. Please listen to our prayers. The wolves cried out desperately while enduring the pain from the electric necklaces. Originally, this village was not weak enough to suffer such a disaster. It was one of the villages blessed by two guardian deities known as the parents of all things. However, the parents of all things had not responded to their prayers for several days. Here they go again. Haha, idiots. Those BS who claim to be gods already lost to the leader. The pirates guarding the captives laughed at the wolves. As they claimed, the guardian deities who protected the village had been defeated by the humanity cartel. The male deity, known as the Father of the Earth, was beheaded by the pirate leader, while the female deity, known as the Mother of the Sky, was currently captured as a prisoner. But the pirates didn't disclose these facts. It was more enjoyable for them to see the wolves despairing in vain. Leaving the camp and surveying the scene of looting, the assistant was approached by one pirate. The pirate was holding a female wolf and a young wolf. What should we do with this wolf, kid? Please, spare this child. Not the leader's taste. Deal with it. Wah. Wait. No. The pirate killed the young wolf and dragged away its mother. Despite being the leader of the humanity cartel, who is a woman herself, she has a strong aversion to other women and ugly men, so they are killed very cruelly. Being humiliated by subordinate pirates here and burning to death seemed more merciful than what they were experiencing. In fact, the Mother of the Sky, captured as a prisoner, was undergoing such terrifying torture from the pirates. Of course, trying to explain that fact to a wolf who lost a child would lack credibility. Nevertheless, beside the assistant who considered it an act of mercy, another subordinate approached. What did the boss say? He said to send some kids. Send the ones with nothing much to do. Got it. After the subordinate left, the assistant returned to work. To find captives to be presented to the leader, they needed to diligently search around until the night ended. An hour after the assistant met Dylan, 10 heavily armed pirates boarded a transport ship heading towards Camp 17. 8 of them wore intermediate reinforced suits, while 2 were on walkers. The walkers were equipped with plasma launchers, and all 8 pirates were armed with Gauss rifles. The level of armament was sufficient to handle a more formidable opponent than the pirates had anticipated around the camp. When they return, there won't be any decent ones left for us to eat, right? That's right. Or we could share it with the others. Well, eating them afterward feels like eating corpses. All 10 of them were forcibly conscripted, so there was a lot of discontent, but there was nothing they could do. Their boss, the cult leader, had a very cruel disposition. As the transport ship arrived in the airspace near Camp 17, which was prepared by the pirates in advance, the assistant spoke to Dylan an hour later. Check for life reactions in the vicinity. Nothing particularly unusual. Their transport ship was equipped with a bioscanner suitable for use on warships. The humanity cartel possessed genetic information for almost all dangerous organisms on this planet. Therefore, the pirates could easily check whether there were dangerous animals in the vicinity. After running the bioscanner once and determining that it was safe, they disembarked and headed for Camp 17. Until that moment, they had no idea what had happened at the camp. At most, they thought it might be a communication failure due to a malfunction. However, what awaited them was not something as simple as a communication failure. Instead of the warm glow of a campfire and the noisy singing of pirates, cold darkness and silence filled Camp 17. Something strange, isn't it? Where did everyone go? Only then did the pirates realize that something was seriously wrong, and they began to be on guard around them. One of the pirates, using the light on his helmet, discovered ominous traces. "Look at this." "What?" Gasp. It was a massive amount of bloodstains. The blood that had been scattered in the middle of the camp continued into the forest. "Everyone, prepare for combat." The extremely tense pirates raised their weapons. They advanced into the forest with the walker at the forefront. The seemingly endless bloodstains gradually diminished until they were cut off in front of a certain tree. Did they fly up into the sky? Utterly nonsensical. No carnivorous animal comes down near this area. Well, that's true. Huh. A drop of water fell onto the shoulder of one of the pirates. Thinking it was rain, he wiped it off only to realize it wasn't water. In the light of the helmet, his palm was covered in blood. Everyone's gaze fixed on his bloody hand. Swallowing hard, he slowly raised his head. And there, above him, the companions they were looking for were there. Get in touch with the boss immediately. Rather than that, prepare the transport ship. Transport ship. Respond. It's an emergency. Fly here right away. Even the ruthless pirates were horrified by the scene in front of them. Skinless pirates were hanging from the trees. Chapter 107. ZZZZ. Send. ZZZZ. Swiftly, urgent. ZZZZ. Dot through. Thud. Why is this happening again? The pirate helmsman at the control seat suddenly struck the malfunctioning communication device. He tried hitting it a few times, turned it on again, but the communication device seemed completely broken, refusing to function at all. Seems like something sent by the guys. Although he didn't know what it was clearly a communication from his colleagues who had visited Camp 17. The helmsman called out to a fellow pilot outside to move the transport ship. "Hey, got a message from the guys. They're leaving, so hop on quickly. I'll just grab this and get in. Hurry up." "Sure thing." Confirming that his colleague, who had gone out for a smoke, had boarded, the helmsman prepared for takeoff. Just as the transport ship was about to take off, the vessel shook as if it had collided with something. "What's going on?" The helmsman quickly checked the warning lights on the dashboard and found that the cargo compartment door at the rear of the transport ship was not properly closed. "I told that idiot to close the door and come in." The helmsman turned on the communication device to call the colleague who had boarded. "We're about to depart, so close the door properly and get in quickly." "ZZZZZZ. I said close the door." Instead of a response, a red light indicating the cargo compartment door setting on the instrument panel changed to green. The cargo door had closed. "Should have closed it earlier. We're leaving, so hold on tight." As the helmsman pulled the control stick, the transport ship ascended into the sky. Yes. Yes. It's true. Their skin was peeled off and hung on the tree. "What? Oh, yes. I'll take a picture and send it right now." Reporting to the higher-ups through the communication device, the pirate activated the small camera attached to his helmet. The camera, mounted next to the lantern, moved and transmitted the image of the bodies lying on the ground to the headquarters. Thanks to the wire rope connected to the structure, retrieving the bodies was not difficult. What kind of devil would do such a thing? Like any space cartel, humanity's pirates had their share of brutality. Even before coming here, they had committed horrific acts against innocent wolfen to the point where it was unspeakable. However, even among them, the idea of hanging a fully skinned human on a tree was unprecedented. While his colleague reported and recorded the video, a sharp-eyed pirate scavenged the blood-soaked corpse. Seeing warm blood, it hasn't been long since they died. That means the perpetrator who committed such a horrific act might be nearby. Shit, was there nothing caught on the bioscanner? If it's unregistered information, it won't be detected. The genetic makeup of the creatures inhabiting the Utopia 2 continent has been mostly catalogued by the Humanity Cartel, but if there are beings from outside, they can't be avoided. The pirates involuntarily shivered at the thought of an unknown enemy, especially a monster preying on humans, being nearby. When is the transport ship coming? I called them, and they told me that they would be here soon. Ah, there they are. The branches and leaves of the trees shook vigorously. Along with a deafening noise, the light from the transport ship illuminated the depths of the forest. Alright. Let's all move. There's only one open space suitable for the transport ship to land around here, and that's outside Camp 17. The pirates naturally thought the transport ship would fly in that direction. Huh? Why is it acting like that? The smoothly flying transport ship started to stagger and quickly descended in altitude as if it were about to crash into the ground. And the direction the transport ship was heading was where the pirates were standing. As the distance between the transport ship and the pirates rapidly decreased, the pirates' faces turned pale. Everyone, get out of the way. The pirates quickly hid behind nearby trees and rocks. The walker also tried to evade belatedly, but it was too late. The descending transport ship crashed mercilessly onto the walker. The transport ship, crushing one walker, exploded, and flames shot up above the trees. The roar echoed throughout the entire forest, startling the avian creatures that were peacefully sleeping, making them all take flight into the sky. What's happening? Our transport ship. The pirates, who had taken cover behind trees or rocks, stared in dismay at the flaming wreckage of the transport ship. As the transport ship carrying them was now in ruins, they cried out in despair. However, their misfortune was not yet over. A pitch-black creature emerged from the flames and attacked the walker. Because it was much larger than the walker, it overwhelmed the walker without resistance, and the pirate sitting in the cockpit was pierced by the tail spikes. The spikes were so long that the pirate died instantly without even screaming. Then the creature who incapacitated the walker then leapt into the forest. The events happened so quickly that the pirates were just staring dumbfounded. It was only after the creature disappeared that the pirates, now regaining their senses, screamed in horror. Ah! Sons of bitches! What the hell was that just now? I don't know. In an instant, losing 2 transport ships and a walker, the pirates were completely plunged into panic. This place is dangerous. Everyone, head to Camp 17. Among the pirates present here, the ones with the most firepower were the 2 walkers equipped with plasma launchers. In this forest, numerous dangerous creatures roamed around fearlessly. Challenging them without a walker was very difficult, hence they decided to retreat back into Camp 17. Now, besides the unknown creature, the inhabitants of the forest would also be targeting them. Moreover, the area reeked of the scent of blood from the skinned corpses, indicating that monsters would soon come here due to the smell of blood. Anticipating the imminent danger, the pirates sprinted. 8 pirates dashed through the thickets. Numerous eyes watched them through the leaves above their heads. We're not far from the camp. Just a little more, and the leading pirate couldn't finish his sentence. A snake-like creature descended from the trees, grabbed his head, and dragged him away. The pirates behind could only watch helplessly as their comrade disappeared into the treetops. Ambush. Just as they were about to react, another snake descended, snatching another pirate. Bone-chilling sounds of bones breaking echoed from above, accompanied by splatters of blood. Defend yourselves. The remaining 6 pirates pulled out Gauss rifles and began shooting into the treetops. Among the dark trees, the massive form of something moved unpredictably. Darn it! I can't see a thing. The pirates continued firing at the perceived targets, but the creature continued moving unperturbed. Furthermore, the monsters on the trees were not the only concern. Help! What? Dozens of bugs attached themselves to one pirate who had been focused on shooting upwards. Palm-sized insects with sharp white teeth chewed through the reinforced armor the pirate wore. The reinforced armor worn by the pirates was a specially upgraded intermediate-level armor with high defense. Thanks to it, the armor wasn't pierced, but that didn't mean they could ignore the pain of having their flesh bitten. I'll help you. Another pirate stopped shooting and shouted toward his comrade. It turned out to be his final words. Be careful. A bright red snake descended from the tree and dragged him away. Other pirates turned around and looked to the spot where the snake had appeared, but thorns flew from the darkness and impaled their throats. They staggered like intoxicated people before collapsing. Now, only 2 pirates remained. They lowered their guns without hesitation and ran straight toward the camp. In truth, there wasn't much they could do by going to the camp, but they didn't have the luxury for such rational judgments. As they fled, they heard heavy footsteps following them from behind. Initially faint, the footsteps rapidly grew louder, now sounding right behind them. Perhaps due to the pressure, one pirate, running frantically, got entangled in branches and fell. Help. It's been nice working with you. This son of a BTCH. Ah. Leaving behind the cries of his comrade, the pirate continued running. Damn. Damn. They ran for a while, but the camp was still out of sight. Above, the tree branches shook ominously, and all the visible trees looked the same. It felt as if the entire forest was mocking him, daring him to escape once. However, they couldn't afford to stand still. The creature would catch up with him in no time. Just as he thought about it, something furry attacked him from behind. The pirate collapsed on the ground, and the creature that attacked him with 8 legs pressed down on his back. Don't. Please. Spare me. Though the pirate pleaded with the unseen foe, the response that came back was sharp teeth. The creature's sharp teeth pierced the pirate's neck. The venom spread through his bloodstream, causing excruciating pain throughout his entire body. New. In agony as his veins melted, the pirate screamed. The monster that attacked the pirate, the Night Stalker, confirmed that the prey had been neutralized and felt satisfied. In the next moment, as the creature was about to devour its prey, something grabbed its head. Huh? What is this? With an unheard dissonance from the forest, the creature could no longer continue its thoughts. Why are you eating that? I looked at the pirate in front of me, holding the partially crushed Night Stalker corpse. He's dead. Unfortunately, the pirate fell victim to the Night Stalker's venom. Corpses not killed directly by me are treated the same as genetic samples. In other words, there's a very low chance of the predatory effect occurring on corpses I didn't personally kill. Even if I use the symbol of hunt, I can only use it as a Transcendent system material unless I gain the same effect twice, and I can't enjoy any benefits. The problem lies in this forest. Because there are many competitors other than me, if I don't move quickly, I'll lose prey like this. I calmed my irritation by eating the Night Stalker's corpse. Meh, not bad. The taste of the Night Stalker's internal organs, which remained intact, could be succinctly described as a croissant with pepperoni. Its internal organs were firm yet had a unique flavor. Whether it was due to the venom glands or potent digestive enzymes in its body, it had a distinct taste. It's delicious, so I'll let it pass this time. Anyway, it's already dead. After consuming the Night Stalker's corpse, I collected the pirate corpses. Even though I couldn't eat them, I could use these pirate corpses to instill fear in my enemies. I wondered if the tactic of skinning before eating would work in reality. In a space survival game which gave its players extreme freedom, it wasn't impossible to skin corpses. Players with butchering skills could obtain leather from the carcasses of rare animals. This leather was often used as material for reinforced armor or to accomplish important missions. Though there's no need to use it to instill fear in enemies. A morph could also skin animals, but with the primary goal of acquiring genetic essence, there was no reason for it to bother with obtaining leather. However, I utilized this method for effective hunting. While the skinned corpse didn't directly debuff players, it was effective in delivering a psychological impact. Not many people would enjoy seeing a corpse with all its muscles exposed. Especially those who host internet broadcasts really hated it. Because of me, the broadcast levels were forcibly elevated. Anyway, I had fun with this tactic several times and used it effectively during the battles on 4 different planets in the past. Since it became less effective as people stopped fearing it, I eventually stopped using it. In a game, it might not have worked, but this was reality. Enemies were greatly shaken by the exposed bones of the unfamiliar corpses, making it easy to annihilate them. There are still more enemies left. I slung the pirate corpse over my shoulder, and I noticed a faint light shining from the helmet. It was a small camera for recording footage. Better this way. I grabbed the helmet with my combat hand and exerted force. The metal helmet crumpled, and blood flowed from the pirate's head inside. They must have seen me through the camera, so they'll come after me. In this forest, there are easily over a dozen pirate camps. Searching for each camp one by one would be cumbersome, and if they set traps with powerful weapons on the other side, there was a high chance I'd fall into them. It's not like other times when I'd go there directly. Not this time. Making them come to me, stepping into the traps I set, that's the essence of this fight. They must have been on high alert after seeing the corpses hung in the trees. The camera on the helmet would have caught it all. Somehow, they'd put in extra effort to capture me. Certainly, if enemies from all directions press me with powerful weapons, it would be an unfavorable situation, but fortunately, that's impossible. It's difficult to move here with transport ships. The landing points are limited. Even the pirates who came to the camp with the lost contact landed in a distant clearing before proceeding. To capture me, they would ultimately have to land in predetermined locations and move on foot. In other words, predicting their movements is not challenging for me. Unless they decide to burn the entire forest with a battleship, everything is within my grasp. Well then, let's get ready. I moved while carrying the pirate and Night Stalker corpses. Behind me, a group of paralyzed pirates followed, pulled along. The pirates, dragged with imprints on the ground, seemed eager to escape somehow. However, after witnessing me casually chewing on a colleague's head like eating a snack, they quieted down. The night is not long. There are many traps I need to create using the walkers, the remaining tools at the camp, and the pirates. Temporary headquarters camp devised by humanity's cult division's leader Dylan. Inside the command tent, there was a static atmosphere. It was due to the video sent by the team that went to investigate Camp 17. After rewatching the video multiple times with cold eyes, Dylan summoned his deputy. Gather my equipment and select 30 of our best fighters. Do I not need to inform the leader first? Damn it, I'm in charge here. If I don't deal with this shit, do you think the leader will just leave me be? Although Dylan was a cult figure beloved by the cartel leader, he wasn't showered with so much love that he could cover up every mistake. The leader of humanity considered all her subordinates expendable. Dylan, too, was just a toy receiving affection from her. If the leader knew there was a problem with the camp, she would immediately strike him down. Anyway, I've already cleared all the wolf villages around here. If I crush one damn bird before going, there won't be any issues. Understood, boss? After receiving the orders, the subordinate left, and Dylan replayed the video. It was to grasp as much as possible about what type of creature it was, its attack methods, or habits. Daring to provoke me? Do they know who I am? Although treated as a toy by the leader of the Humanity cartel, Dylan, as the leader of all the cultists in the Humanity, was a formidable figure in hunting dangerous creatures. While waiting for his subordinates to bring his exclusive equipment, he repeatedly reviewed the video. However, even with the preparations, a lingering unease remained in a corner of his mind. A monster slaughtering pirates in the darkness. Somehow, he couldn't shake off the feeling that the creature smelled similar to the leader of humanity. Chapter 108. The preparation is complete. Copy that. Upon the report of the deputy chief, Dylan stood up from his seat. Currently, he was wearing an upgraded high-grade reinforced suit on his body and a mask with a unique design on his face. The mask, resembling a death mask with a silver surface that looked like a human face, was named Indomitable Mask. It was specially bestowed to him by the leader, providing the wearer with concealment against detection devices and immunity to psychic powers affecting poison and the mind. Moreover, the Indomitable Mask had the incredible advantage of being compatible with any equipment. For instance, the auto-plasma gun attached to his shoulder could automatically shoot at enemies and remain undetectable by conventional detection devices, thanks to its connection with the mask. Among the gear he wore, nothing was cheap, but Dylan didn't mind. The opponent they were about to face was far from easy. When Dylan emerged from the tent, 30 heavily armed pirates were waiting for him in the open space of the campsite. All of them were clad in high-grade reinforced suits, each holding a Gauss rifle in their hands. Additionally, they carried portable plasma rocket launchers and purple spray guns as infantry support weapons. What about the heavy walker? It's already on board. Furthermore, there was a heavy walker clad in thick armor armed with a storm gun and a plasma launcher. Cartels that could deploy such high-level equipment throughout the entire space dock were not very common. Alright. Let's proceed with the encircling tactic as usual. Understood. Dylan always divided his team into 3 during hunts: a reconnaissance team to search for prey, a driving team to lead or lure the prey, and finally, a striking team to deliver the blows. The reconnaissance team consisted of 6 members, including the deputy chief, the driving team had 10 members, and the striking team, including Dylan and the walker, had 16 members. In total, 32 members executed the hunting operation together. The pirates' reinforced suits and weapons were also tailored to their teams and roles. For example, the reconnaissance team wore lightweight reinforced suits with stealth capabilities, while the driving and striking teams were armed with armor that increased their defense. Let's go then. Alright. Everyone on board. Following Dylan, the pirates boarded the large transport ship one by one. The transport ship, carrying the walker and the pirates, soared through the morning mist. The damp air peculiar to the jungle quickly filled the transport ship. The pirates silently double-checked the equipment they brought, their faces frozen in tension, but there was no sign of fear. For a long time, the pirates of the Humanity Cartel had fought against formidable enemies. They had experienced defeats at times, but they always emerged as the survivors. Unknown monster. Whether it's a monster or not, let's show it who the real monster is. Yes. The pirates responded enthusiastically to Dylan's words. The large transport ship, flying swiftly, soon reached the airspace above the landing point. Boss, we're almost there. Good. Once we're down, everyone will start their search from Camp 17's perimeter. As the large transport ship prepared to land on the expansive clearing, the pirates finished their preparations by loading weapons or boarding the walker. And just as the landing gear of the transport ship touched the ground, Dylan heard something. He realized it was the sound of a mine detonating, but by then, it was already too late. A massive explosion engulfed those aboard the transport ship. It's begun. In the distance, pillars of fire shot up into the sky. The mines I had planted earlier had exploded. I had interrogated pirates captured before their arrival to learn the landing zones of the enemy's transport ships in advance. Then, I collected defensive mines stored at the camp and strategically placed them in the anticipated open spaces where the enemies would come. They'll likely be wearing high-quality reinforced suits, so they won't die from that. Maybe there will be 2 to 3 casualties at most. I didn't expect too many pirates from that, but just blocking the enemy's retreat is a significant achievement. With the objective achieved, I leapt from the treetops. Next is. I sprinted through the misty forest, breaking small trees as I went, startling small creatures that scurried away. As the moisture in the air thickened, the trees suddenly cleared, revealing a wide river bank. There, hundreds of creatures resembling stegosauruses had gathered. They were plant lizards, creatures I had once preyed upon in the space city. Though they resembled herbivorous dinosaurs, they were classified as plant-like organisms. Their ecology matched their appearance. They obtained nutrients in well-lit areas during the day and came to the water's edge like this at night to consume moisture. Sorry to disturb your leisure, but I needed the help of my forest friends now. I roared vigorously towards them. Roar. A tremendous roar echoed throughout the entire forest, emanating from a body that approached 12 meters in length, including the tail. Sleeping Galagon herds atop the trees were startled and leapt into the air, while roars of other predators guarding me from within the forest were heard. Upon hearing my roar, the herd of plant lizards all woke from their slumber. Key. The largest male, measuring 10 meters, looked at me and emitted a short roar. Upon hearing that sound, the entire herd began fleeing in the opposite direction. Good. I pursued them, brandishing my tail and roaring to instill fear. The male, in the middle of the herd, occasionally stood his ground, attempting to drive me away to protect the group. During those moments, I pretended to attack the male without directly confronting him, targeting other plant lizards behind him. If the male tried to protect the family, I threatened another, and as he moved, I targeted yet another. As this repeated, the plant lizard herd continued to run away desperately. Let's keep it this way. My intention was to make the herd overrun the pirates while fleeing. Plant lizards didn't have any means of attack except for the spikes on their tails, but when gathered in a herd between 5 to 10 meters in size, they became formidable. Even heavily armored walkers would stand no chance if they were overwhelmed by such a herd. And I'll target the enemies in the meantime. Although they would likely recover quickly due to their profiles, my strategy didn't end here. I still had over dozens of ways to deal with them. We're almost there. The auxiliary organ under my jaw whispered to me. The ignorant fools were approaching. 2 casualties in the reconnaissance team, 1 injured in the driving team, 1 walker immobilized. Damn it, aren't you including the casualties on the transport ship and the pilot? Can't you do your job properly? Sorry. The damages Dylan's party incurred before entering combat were significant. Particularly, their primary firepower holder, one of the 5 heavy walkers, was damaged and wasn't able to function properly. Now only 4 heavy walkers remained. Damn it. Someone had made a makeshift scarecrow using a skinned corpse hanging from a tree. They should have anticipated our arrival and us utilizing bombs and weapons. It was a mistake to think only about fighting dangerous beasts. Disband the reconnaissance team and tell the remaining members to all join the driving team. Understood. Boss, what about the injured? Upon hearing another pirate's question, Dylan approached the injured member of the driving team. Given the twisted state of his legs, walking seemed impossible. Without hesitation, Dylan shot him with the autoplasma gun strapped to his shoulder. We don't need injured in our cartel. No one among Dylan's subordinates protested against his actions. Being alone in this hellish forest in an injured state was essentially a death sentence. The pirates gathered their tools, ammunition, and other essentials from the wreckage of the transport ship and headed towards Camp 17. When they were close to the camp, the deputy chief at the forefront sent a signal. At that signal, all the pirates came to a halt. While other pirates vigilantly scanned their surroundings with night vision goggles integrated into their reinforced helmets, Dylan activated the concealment detection function of the indomitable mask. A violet flame flickered in the eyes of the mask, and the forms of creatures hidden in the forest were revealed completely within his field of vision. Check direction at 11 o'clock. Upon hearing the deputy chief's words, the pirates' gun barrels all pointed in unison towards the 11 o'clock direction. Dylan's autoplasma gun, attached to his shoulder, also moved in alignment with his sight. Craw. Roar. Beastly roars echoed from a distance. Everything seemed normal in the surroundings, the dense fog, the unknown animal sounds. However, there was one exception. In the extremely tense atmosphere, the pirates sweated coldly down the back of their necks. As the roars grew louder, Dylan raised his finger on the trigger to intercept the approaching threat. At that moment, he felt a subtle tremor in the ground. An earthquake? He placed his palm on the ground, feeling the vibrations rising through his knees. What initially started as a gentle shake escalated into a more pronounced tremor. No way. Damn it. Scatter. As Dylan shouted, massive reptilian creatures with a dark green glow emerged from the thick fog. A herd of plant lizards, adorned with impressive dorsal plates, ambushed the pirates who were waiting. Arg! These bastards. Everyone scatter behind trees. Don't engage in a direct fight. Reacting to Dylan's orders, the pirates quickly jumped behind trees or rocks. Surprisingly, the plant lizards passed them without attacking, as if the pirates weren't even there. However, the heavily armored heavy walkers, who due to their large size, couldn't move quickly. One out of the four was caught by the charging plant lizard herd while trying to shoot them with a plasma launcher, missing the timing to evade. As a result, the heavy walker was overwhelmed by the rushing plant lizards. Even with the thick armor, facing hundreds of creatures weighing over 10 tons each was an impossible feat. It crumbled as the herd trampled over it, the protected control seats were destroyed, and the pilot inside was crushed without even putting up a fight. Damn it. Yet, their ordeal wasn't over. Something with a jet black exterior burst out from among the plant lizard herd and charged towards one of the remaining walkers. With momentum from the charge, it collided with the heavy walker, and two thick horns penetrated the reinforced glass of the walker's control seat. It's here. Open fire. The pirates immediately started shooting at the monster who was attached to the walker. Piercing rounds formed a lattice from Gauss rifles, and a purple flame erupted from the purple spray gun. As soon as the creature withdrew its horns, it evaded the pirates' assault and vanished into the opposite side of the forest. Where's the walker pilot? Confirm his condition quickly. While the assault and striking teams were firing at the monsters, one pirate from the reconnaissance team checked the interior of the walker. What happened? He accurately penetrated the pilot's chest. Dylan's face twisted in a grimace upon hearing the report. The battle hadn't even started, yet they had already lost 3 valuable heavy walkers. Ugh! Ark! Dylan's scream echoed through the forest, a cry filled with frustration. At this point, they must be pretty pissed. Hearing the enemy leader's angry shouts, I couldn't help but feel strangely satisfied. The more they lose their composure, the more advantageous it is for me. I expected it, but they came with some good equipment. Although I suspected that the humanity cartel had a lot of money, their equipment exceeded the usual pirate category. With heavy walkers armed with plasma launchers on both arms, they could kill me even when I was in the state of the symbol of hunt. Therefore, my top priority was to eliminate the heavy walkers. The unfortunate part was that I could only take out 2 of them. Originally, I planned to take advantage of the chaos to ambush and clear the other walkers, but unexpectedly, the enemy's onslaught was fierce. They brought the purple spray gun. The purple spray gun was a kind of a psychic flamethrower. It was just like my psychic breath, though its power was half of it. However, it increases the range of the attack, making the spray cover a wide distance. Although I had psychic resistance, it wasn't a weapon to be taken lightly if I were to get hit. Currently, there were 2 walkers left, and the pirates with the purple spray guns were still intact. I needed to somehow finish off the walkers with the next trap. Only then could I focus on dealing with the pirates wielding the purple spray guns. Alright. Let's go and check the... Huh. As I tried to move to the next trap, the auxiliary organ warned me. It detected something in the vicinity. Is it invisible? Even with my exceptional vision, I was not able to see anyone. Since the auxiliary organ wouldn't lie to me, I concentrated for a moment. The scent of soil on the ground, the smell of moss clinging to rocks, the moisture composing the fog, the sound of trees absorbing water and breathing, the scent of sweat. Wait, the scent of sweat. A strange scent mingled in the air. Extremely faint, almost impossible to detect without concentration, but it was undoubtedly the scent emitted when a human was tense and nervous. I slightly flicked the end of my tail in the direction of the sweaty scent. The thorn hair stuck to something transparent. The thorns hit the target and rendered it immobile, causing it to fall to the ground. It was a man wearing a cloaking device similar to the invisibility-enhanced camouflage suit that a sniper had worn in a previous battle in the space city. A cloaking device? This was perfect. Originally, I had prepared another trap after this. However, obtaining such a valuable item fell into my hands unexpectedly, and it sparked an amusing thought. You'll be a valuable asset. I picked up the man in the invisibility-enhanced suit and moved on to the next location. The pirates who entered this forest still had a lot to see. Chapter 109. Even the forest that couldn't be seen a step ahead due to the dew and darkness welcomed the morning. Light spread over the dark forest floor. The ground was slightly wet from the mist and dew that occurred in the early morning. Footprints covered the moist soil. These were traces left by pirates and walkers moving through. Since it was now morning, there were no significant problems with their movement and search, unlike the previous dawn. However, their atmosphere had changed significantly from a few hours ago when they arrived at this place. Unfamiliar emotions filled their faces hidden behind helmets. Fear. It was the fear instinctively felt by those facing danger. Boss, is the deputy chief still alive? Shut up. Okay. When Dylan growled, the subordinate immediately silenced. Currently, they were using a detector to track the missing assistant chief. The assistant chief disappeared abruptly during an attack, most likely taken away by some monster. Damn it. If the leader finds out about this. The assistant chief was a person directly assigned by the leader to assist Dylan. If she finds out that he has been captured by a monster, she would not let it go unpunished. To avoid an unfortunate future, they had to capture the monster at any cost, whether alive or dead. Enemy detected. As soon as the walker operator shouted, everyone opened fire towards the creatures hiding in the trees. In a matter of seconds, one with only the lower body remaining fell to the ground. Wood devils. There are two more, so keep looking. Although only weak wood devils seemed to be dying since a while ago, there was no sign of the main one. It was possible that it had escaped far from this place, but Dylan was confident that it wouldn't be the case. It's a hunter. Moreover, a hunter capable of standing shoulder to shoulder with the most lethal predators on this continent. Until all the pirates who entered this forest were dead, it wouldn't stop the massacre. Boss. Look over there. At that moment, one of the subordinates pointed to the trees. Expecting wood devils, Dylan raised his head, but what he saw was something worse. This damn bastard. Hanging from every tree were stripped corpses. It was a message, either a warning that they would be made the same way or a provocation that they were not worth more than this. Reading the meaning behind the hanging corpses, Dylan gritted his teeth. Sir, shouldn't we retrieve the bodies? Whether it was Dylan or the pirates present, there was little consciousness among them regarding the corpses. The reason for bringing up the need to retrieve the bodies was the presence of other predators in this forest. In the vicinity, there were no predators strong enough to threaten the pirates. However, due to the explosion and the movement of the plant lizards that occurred in the early morning, it couldn't be ruled out that predators from afar might have come here. For example, the Hond Gigrant. It is a bipedal carnivorous reptile with a body covered in scales as tough as the outer walls of a battleship and jaw strength powerful enough to easily crush a heavy walker. Moreover, it always traveled in pairs, making it a difficult foe for the current group of pirates to confront. They have a keen sense of smell. Surely the monster that hung the corpses knew this fact and deliberately arranged them in that way. Those who were pursuing the missing deputy chief had to pass through this place, increasing the likelihood of encountering another predator attracted by the scent of the corpses. Immediately pull those bodies out. No, wait. Dylan, who was about to order his subordinates to retrieve the bodies, closed his mouth. No, would it act like that? It was the one who predicted the landing point of the transport ship and laid mines. The chance that such a cunning person did nothing to the corpses was slim. It hung the bodies low. In the video sent by his subordinates, the corpses were hung high for a while, but now they weren't. It was a low enough position that even a pirate in reinforced armor could jump and grab them and pull them down. It was as if it was tempting us to retrieve the bodies. Something's off. Dylan aimed the purple spray gun at the bodies hanging on the trees. The violet flames spewing from the elongated barrel burned the corpses and trees. The barely suspended body fell to the ground, and upon landing, it exploded with a loud noise. That bastard. He had a bomb inside the corpse, which was rigged to explode upon impact. In other words, a double trap. Whether he removed the body or not, it would still be a problem. Ugh, let's get out of here as soon as possible. Understood. Passing through the path with the bombs was certainly not a good choice, but it couldn't be helped. It was better than drawing the attention of other predators due to the explosion. Dylan and the pirates swiftly moved away from the bodies. 50 meters ahead, the deputy chief's movement has stopped. Although they were getting closer to the deputy chief, Dylan felt more uneasy. He had no idea what kind of scheme that monster might be planning this time. Everyone, stop. It seems like he, who was wearing the indomitable mask, needs to inspect it personally. You, and you come with me. The rest wait. Yes. Dylan, along with some subordinates, stepped forward. As they pushed through the dense grass, a wide clearing appeared in front of them. Beneath the trees in the clearing, the deputy chief was leaning against a tree trunk. The reinforced armor he was wearing, whether torn apart by monsters or due to some other reason, was severely damaged. Except for the abdominal area, the rest was torn. Dylan first scanned the surroundings with the indomitable mask. If it was concealing itself, it would appear as a violet light, but there was no sign of any creature in the vicinity. Upon closer inspection of the deputy chief, his body was seen writhing. He was still alive. Damn, are you alive? Ugh. He seemed to have suffered serious injuries as he could only groan without being able to move. Dylan gestured to his subordinate. One pirate cautiously approached the assistant chief. Deputy chief. Ugh. As the pirate approached, the deputy chief's groans became more intense. Approaching closely, the pirate noticed that something was strange with the deputy chief. His abdomen was unnaturally swollen. As the pirate was about to touch his abdomen at that moment, the reinforced armor burst open and black beetles attached to the inside rushed out, attacking the pirate. All right. The hidden tooth fairies initiated their actions. Now it's my turn. As a metal-eating being in stealth mode, I had crawled up to the top of the tree trunk, avoiding detection by the enemies. The leader over there seems to have made some calculations. As well. Detecting the bomb trap was quite clever, but it was within my expected range. They were too focused on the corpses, and thanks to that, they didn't notice me hiding at the top of the tree trunk. It's in the palm of my hand. I leapt down from the tree trunk. The target was the walker preparing for combat from the rear. My body, now significantly heavier due to the Nightmare Horizon effect, descended rapidly. Unaware of me falling, the walker, charging its plasma launcher, remained oblivious. The walker I collided with toppled forward. As it fell, the charging launcher fired, turning two nearby pirates into dust. It's the monster! A shout from inside the cockpit echoed. It was intended to wipe them out in one go, but unfortunately, it was a failure. The thick steel gloves surrounding the cockpit were bent like a spoon due to my collision, but it seemed it wasn't enough to kill the pilot. Other pirates and walkers turned back in response to the pilot's words. I activated the ghost claws and reached into the cockpit. After manipulating my hand a few times, I silenced the pilot in one go and quickly leapt forward. Just in time, a plasma beam passed above my back. Activating pain nullification. Oh no. I thought I had escaped unharmed, but it wasn't the case. The beam had destroyed the dorsal plate on my back. Until I recovered, the electromagnetic interference was unavailable. Following the beam, purple flames from the purple spray gun erupted towards me from all directions. It's incredibly hot. The flames of psychic origin seared my outer layer. The purple spray gun had formidable destructive power, and the flames, made of unrefined psychic power, wouldn't easily extinguish. It continued to burn until a certain amount of time had passed. Currently, I was in a state with psychic enhancement type, psychic immunity trait, and pain nullification trait. Thanks to these, I stopped feeling pain before it became unbearable, otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to move properly. Even though I used metal absorption, it's a shame. The transparency was useless because of the purple flames sticking to my body. But even in this state, there's a strategy I can use. With the flames still on my body, I rushed towards the remaining walker. The guy charging the launcher hurriedly activated the shoulder-mounted grenade launcher as I approached. How foolish. The grenade, packed with concentrated plasma energy, hit my head and bounced off. The rebounded grenade landed in front of the pirates, pouring psychic flames at me. What the? Ignoring the thunderous explosion from behind, I charged towards the walker. Unlike the walker helplessly attacked during the dawn, this one tilted his body to let my charge slide off. Though the horn left an elongated mark on the external armor of the cockpit, it didn't pierce through. Dodging my horn, the walker kicked me and pushed me away. Focused on the charge, I was greatly pushed back by the walker's kick. But it doesn't matter. Despite the walker aiming the launcher at me, his intention couldn't be fulfilled. Ugh. HH. This was because the psychic flames engulfing my body had transferred to the walker. As the cockpit was engulfed in purple flames, the pilot hastily escaped from inside. Where are you going? I swung my tail at him as he attempted to flee. Hit by the tail covered in sturdy scales, he flew far away and collided with a tree. The moment he collided with the tree, he turned into a mosquito-like shape, squashed against the palm of my hand. Shoot! Shoot and kill that thing. The pirate leader who had gone ahead for reconnaissance was now back, screaming. The auto-plasma gun on his shoulder was precisely aiming and shooting at me. I turned my head, aimed my arm, and blocked the incoming plasma bullets. It stung a bit, but it was still endurable. Should I change my position? Avoiding the psychic flames and plasma bullets, I leapt into the midst of the pirates. The purple spray gun doesn't discriminate between friend and foe. Pirates wielding flamethrowers hesitated and stopped shooting. These idiots. Shoot him now. The cunning pirate leader shouted, but it was already too late. I pulled out all the weapons from my combat arm. First, I struck the head of a pirate with a bone axe who seemed unsure of what to do. Cack. While his brain matter scattered, a blood-red blood-sucking tentacle grabbed another pirate's leg. Ugh! The pirate entangled by the blood-sucking tentacle turned into a 1.9 meters long club used to beat down other pirates. Kekook. Ah! Even for a pirate wearing sturdy reinforced armor, the club made from a pirate in the same attire was unbearable. Like bowling pins hit by a bowling ball, the pirates fell over. Perhaps realizing their comrades were being abandoned, the other pirates once again attempted to activate the purple spray gun. I opened my mouth wide towards them. A pouch with malicious fungi from the internal organs of my throat was expelled outward. The black masses flew in an arc and landed behind the pirates with flamethrowers. With the sound of bursting water balloons, the wicked fungi were released, clinging to the pirates. Kayak. A. Ag. HH. The pirates screamed in a strange manner as they writhed. Thanks to the enhanced infection trait, the effects of space bacteria and contamination fungi were even more potent. The contaminated fungi, now much more malicious than before, rapidly consumed the pirates' bodies. This damn. Retreat. Retreat. The walkers were wiped out, and the remaining pirates had significantly dwindled. At the retreat order from the pirate leader, other pirates turned around and started to run away. I didn't chase after them. Instead, I gathered around the pirates who were still alive in the vicinity. Stop. Kakek. I should recover before chasing them. I carefully chewed on the head of a struggling pirate. The dorsal plate, which activates the jamming trait, was damaged, and the entire body suffered burns due to psychic flames. Rather than hastily pursuing the enemy, it was preferable to recover from wounds and replenish energy before moving. I've already eliminated all the walkers and flamethrower troops anyway. The one who seemed to be the leader was armed only with the purple spray gun and an auto-plasma gun. In this perilous forest, they were like wounded deer. Now, I'm the pursuer. It's a bit disappointing that I won't be using the traps I had prepared, but it's okay. I love a good pursuit. Chapter 110. Damn it. Screw this. Dylan cursed incessantly. His subordinates beside him cast uneasy glances as he muttered under his breath. I underestimated the enemy too much. After a prolonged escape, they were momentarily taking a break behind a rock, hidden from sight. Only 6 people, including Dylan, were able to survive. The fate of the other subordinates was uncertain. However, judging by the complete cessation of gunfire that was heard from afar just a few minutes ago, it was easy to imagine the grim outcome they might have faced. Damn it. Including Dylan and the deputy chief, 32 people had come here, along with 5 heavy walkers. Now, only 6 people were left. Even if they managed to escape unscathed, it was inconceivable for Dylan, who had caused such chaos, go unpunished. Contact the cruiser. Despite the circumstances, Dylan chose to contact the cruiser as it seemed to be the most viable option for his survival. Dylan believed that even enduring torture was better than dying. Dylan disconnected the wire from the terminal attached to his wrist and connected it to a socket on a mask resembling a death mask at the corner. Then, he pressed the button on the terminal, and communication with the cruiser was established. A short connection sound emanated from the terminal and a communications soldier received his transmission. Dylan here. Where's the leader? She left for the continent this morning. Apparently, she got information about a treasure from that sky mother of beasts we caught not long ago. Oh, really? Upon hearing the communications soldier's words, Dylan breathed a sigh of relief. The pirates listening nearby also showed relieved expressions. Without the leader, Dylan would become the top member of the human cartel. If they captured the monster with the forces of the cruiser before the leader returned, the severity of the punishment for them would likely be reduced. There's a top-grade danger creature here. I'll send the information, so record it in the ship's database. Sure, understood. As Dylan manipulated the terminal, the video information about the monster recorded by his mask was transmitted directly to the cruiser's computer. All information has been transmitted. Good. Our lives are in danger, so we need to act right away. ZZZ. ZZZ.ZZZ. Dylan tried to request support, but suddenly, noise interfered and the terminal became unresponsive. This bastard. Bring the cruiser here immediately. ZZZ, ZZZZ. ZZ. ZZZ.Z. Damn. In his anger, Dylan was about to strike the terminal, but then he heard the sound of trees breaking nearby. When a colossal creature moved, the sound was something these pirates in this place were quite familiar with. Everyone trembled, with their mouths agape in fear. It's not like they lacked the weapons to inflict harm on the creature. They had a grenade launcher, the purple spray gun Dylan was holding, and an auto-plasma gun. The problem was that using all of these they could only cause harm to the creature, but not kill it. Everyone knew what happened when that creature retaliated against other pirates. That's why they chose to hide and endure rather than confront it directly, hoping the creature would pass by without realizing they were there. Thud, thud, thud. The wet ground vibrated every time the creature's heavy footsteps were put on it. As the sound of footsteps grew louder, Dylan reached a point where he couldn't tell if the noise was the creature's footsteps or his own heartbeat. The seemingly eternal sound of footsteps came to a stop. In contrast, Dylan's heartbeats reached their peak. Growl. The creature growled. Hearing it so close, they could pinpoint its location. The creature was behind the rock where they were hiding. What the hell should I do? What's the best course of action? Damn, should I attack now? No, what if it goes wrong? Screw it. I don't want to die. Dylan, in an extreme state of tension, seemed on the verge of losing his mind. His subordinates beside him were similarly trembling visibly, with their arms and legs shaking. GRR. The instigator who had terrified the pirates like this moved its steps again. With each step, the reverberation felt from the creature's heavy feet gradually subsided. Only then did the pirates breathe a sigh of relief, visibly relaxing. Some pirates were so tense that they even vomited on the spot. Despite the nauseating smell, Dylan didn't blame his subordinates. Even he, a powerful cultist with a strong mental will, wanted to vomit but managed to hold back. The pirates hiding behind rocks started to stand up one by one, surveying the surroundings. Dylan, after a deep breath, also got up from his position. The creature was nowhere in sight, perhaps it was already gone. Thinking it was fortunate, as he stretched, tilting his head back, Dylan realized the true meaning of the expression heart froze. A purple mass was vividly glowing on a dead branch beside the rock. D. Yo, you. As soon as he grasped that fact, Dylan felt a sharp pain in his shoulder. A thorn, about the size of a kitchen knife, flew from the creature's tail and embedded itself in his shoulder. Another thorn pierced the autoplasma gun mounted on his shoulder, causing it to malfunction. Ugh! Cough. Not only did Dylan get hit, but the pirates nearby also emitted short screams. They stumbled backward without energy. Poison. Me. Oh, and. Seemingly unexpected, the creature smirked. Thanks to the unyielding mask, Dylan was not poisoned by the toxin. He quickly ran in the opposite direction. As he fled, thorns flew towards his back and stuck into the ground. Dylan, reinforced by an enhancement drug in his reinforced suit, used every ounce of strength to run. Despite never using it before due to its side effects, now was not the time to consider such things. He had never witnessed such a vividly terrifying situation in his life. Even when he first met his leader, who massacred countless lives with a smile, it wasn't as terrifying. The term monster was too mild for the creature. It was the embodiment of the primal fear that all sentient beings possess. Ook. 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 Running breathlessly, Dylan realized there was no sound of footsteps behind him and glanced back. Although the creature was not visible, he didn't stop running. With his ears ringing from the mad dash, the sound of the wind seemed too faint to be a fighter jet, and there was no fluttering sound characteristic of a dragon. Turning his head to identify the source of the sound, Dylan could finally make out the creature's form. Flying through the trees, it had 4 arms, thick legs, and a tail much longer than its body, connected by a membrane between its arms and tail. Damn, it can fly. Dylan gave up the escape. While standing there dumbfounded and swearing, the creature landed in front of him. So it was because of this. I examined the mask in my hand. It was an equipment I obtained from the deceased pirate leader with folded waist. It was a silver mask resembling a human's death mask, and I knew the identity of this mask. It's the Cult Quest reward, but how did he manage to get it? Known as the Unyielding Mask, it grants immunity to poison and mental attacks to the wearer, as well as the ability to see hidden targets. It's not a common piece of equipment, as it's a reward obtained from clearing a cult quest, though not of the unique grade. Obtaining the Unyielding Mask requires clearing a relatively complex dungeon. Are there other players here besides me? Players might naturally accept quests, but this is the real world. It was hard to imagine that the pirate in front of me fully understood the system of quests and obtained this equipment. If there are other players besides me, how did they come in? Until now, I thought I was the only one who entered the world of space survival, never considering the existence of other users. If there were, it would pose a significant problem. How should I deal with them? I don't have much to say after devouring countless people, but when the target is a player, it becomes a different matter. They grew up and lived in the same world as me. Frankly speaking, they are closer beings than those in this space survival world. So, if by any chance they declare hostility towards me, would I willingly fight against them? The reason I ponder this is because I am a morph. If they are players who have enjoyed the game for a long time, the likelihood of them trying to kill me is high. Moreover, for my ascension, I inevitably have to be hostile to other players. Because the conditions for ascension dictate so. Similar to a morph's ascension, other species also include the subjugation of beings from different races in their ultimate goals. If other players aim for ascension, the possibility of having a friendly relation with them is very low. No, the information is still too scarce. It's premature to decide how to deal with other players. It's much more productive to gather enough information and make a decision with a clear mind. I should probably ask the pirates I paralyzed earlier about it. Where and how they obtained the Unyielding Mask. If it was obtained through looting, then from whom, etc. I grabbed the mask and devoured the body of the cult leader without leaving anything behind. Other players, huh? If players exist somewhere in this world, I should meet them after becoming as strong as possible. Even if I decide not to be hostile towards them, they might be hostile towards me. If I meet them in a weakened state, I'll only become a slave or prey. The thought of becoming someone's slave or prey is intolerable for me. So, I immediately did what only an amorph can do: hunt, prey, and evolve. I must become more powerful than anyone to make decisions freely at the moment of choice. With that in mind, I retraced my steps. The paralyzed pirates are probably still eagerly waiting for me. However, what awaited me was not the pirates. Grrrrrrrr. Seeing them, I quickly crouched down. The protective coloration effect activated, changing my body color to a shade similar to the nearby reddish deadwood. Grrr. A large theropod with horns on its head, a 20-meter body length and a height of 9 meters to the hip, looked away from devouring pirates and glanced in my direction. It was a dangerous creature, a Hondgigrant, positioned high in the food chain of this forest. Grrrrrrrr. Although it couldn't see me, it sensed a different scent coming from my direction. However, the scent of cult blood from my body seemed to mix with the scent of the pirate's blood, making it difficult to clearly distinguish. While one focused on finding me in hiding, the other tried to secretly snatch a pirate. Grrrrrrrr. Bruh. Grrrr. The one that had been staring at me finally stopped paying attention and roared at another, implying not to stare at me. They devoured all 5 pirates around the rocks and leisurely left. Oh no. Confirming their departure, I stood up. The Hondgigrant came all the way here. I considered trying to confront them, but at my current level, it's challenging to deal with them. I could somehow kill one, but Hondgigrant is already a powerful predator, and it has a fearsome unique ability. It's difficult to deal with when it goes into frenzy mode. Hondgigrant always travels in pairs, and if one of them dies, the remaining one's stats become significantly higher. Its already tough exterior becomes even tougher, making it nearly impossible to inflict damage with my psychokinesis breath. Its jaw strength also becomes so powerful that it can easily crush my head. Even if I manage to win in a fight, if the injuries become too severe, it would be a loss. Because there are still enemies left for me to fight with. I should move again once they leave. Originally, the habitat of Hondgigrant is far from here. They probably came here due to the bomb I used while hunting pirates, attracting their attention. They will probably return to their habitat when they are satisfied with their meal. But seriously, they ate everything without leaving anything. Because Hondgigrant devoured all the pirates. There's no one left to ask about the origin of the mask. However, there are dozens of nearby camps. If I roam around and hunt pirates, I can somehow gather information. If that's not enough, I might have to aim for a cruiser. Let's rest until the Hondgigrant leaves. I've wiped out the pirates, and although I don't know how significant a stake they had in the humanity cartel, they are currently annihilated. It will take some more time until the enemies come looking for me again. Climbing up a tree, I crouched down. Confirming the activation of the protective coloration, I quietly closed my eyes. Since entering this continent, I parted ways with the kids, hunted pirates with strange names, and obtained unexpected information about the player. The jumbled thoughts inside my head gradually became blurry, and drowsiness started to overwhelm me. Come to think of it, it has been a long time since I slept alone. I've always had number 26 by my side all this time. It's been a while since I've closed my eyes alone. Feeling somewhat lonely for reasons unknown, I slowly drifted into sleep. Chapter 111. Do you know who Rick is? Rick the Wanderer. Of course, I know. What about him? They lost contact with him at the camp. What? Even in broad daylight, the pirates at the camp were on high alert. This was because orders had come from the battleship that served as their main base. I heard we have also lost contacts with the other camps, again. That's probably why we're on guard at this time too. Hey, wasn't this surrounding area supposed to be safe? The pirate on guard froze at his colleague's ominous tone. In response, the colleague continued, reassuring him. Don't worry. The leader is supposed to return to the battleship in a day or two, according to the orders from above. Really? That's a relief. But why did she go out for so long in the first place? They didn't tell me that. There were rumors that it's because of the prisoner she captured a while ago. I want to know more. I'd love to tell you more, but I don't know. Huh? The pirates chatting suddenly turned to the voice that had interjected. There were only 2 people on guard at this spot. Their gazes went upward. There, a voice imitating a pirate's voice echoed it was there. It's been a week since I arrived in Utopia too. During this time, I raided various camps in the forest to gather information about the player. One of the pirates at a camp mentioned that the indomitable mask I possess was originally bestowed by the pirate leader to the cult division leader, Dylan. In other words, the cultist pirate I killed before was the cult division leader of the humanity cartel. Later, among the raided camps, there was a large camp where many pirates were stationed. There, I encountered someone wearing equipment similar to the cult's quest reward, just like the indomitable mask, which Dylan was wearing. With this, I was partially sure that the leader of the humanity cartel is either a player or closely related to S-player. This meant I was facing a serious threat. I interrogated the pirates for more information. Summing up their words, the leader had three main characteristics. She belonged to the cult, was female, and was continuously acquiring unique artifacts through unknown means. Despite being a pirate, the leader was a morally upright person and possessed battleships and various powerful equipment. Therefore, the power gap between me and the pirate leader was significant. Even if I'm skilled in combat in the wilderness, it won't be easy with such a huge power difference. And if the pirate leader is indeed the player, there's a high possibility that they know about me. In that case, a significant portion of the tactics I've used in the wilderness, like corpse bombs or skin-stripped corpses, is likely well known among long-time players. Fortunately, she isn't here. For reasons unknown, according to the subordinates, the leader is currently away and will return to the battleship in 2 days. There was no indication of any response or preparation from the battleship regarding the leader's return. As the pirates mentioned just now, I had only issued a warning through the raided camps about my attacks. The intention was to lure the leader in, gather as much information as possible before her arrival, and then prepare for a full-scale assault when she comes to capture me. Of course, the situation wasn't entirely unfavorable to me. I have time until the leader arrives. Usually, time isn't on my side, but this time is an exception. I have to evolve into a quasi-saint within 2 days. Chewing on the loot acquired from the camp, I activated a semi-transparent text box. Evolution conditions for quasi-saint have been partially met. Species capable of transformation 20/20 achieved. Sentient species 20/20 achieved. Species using psychic powers 20/20 achieved. Types owned 2/4 incomplete. The conditions for devouring a playable species have been completed. The only thing left is the number of types. To evolve into a pre-ascendant, a total of 4 types are required. I already have the physical enhancement type and the psychic enhancement type, and there are 3 potential types to be acquired in the future. Available types, 3. Infection enhancement type, 6/8, special defense enhancement type, 4/4, nest enhancement type, 1/4. There is 1 type available right now. Do you want to unlock the special defense enhancement type? For a week, I've intermittently devoured not only pirates but also various wild animals, securing 2 new traits. One related to special defense, which is disease resistance obtained from the Night Stalker, and another infection-related trait, which is hallucinogenic beetle, obtained from a fungus-like carnivorous animal called the red clown. Thanks to this, the special defense enhancement type has been unlockable since 2 days ago, but I'm still postponing the decision. If I acquire a type, the number of traits needed for acquiring other types will increase. For example, if I obtain the infection enhancement type now, the number of traits required to acquire both the special defense enhancement type and nest enhancement type would increase to 8 each. So, acquiring the infection enhancement type first is advantageous in the current situation. Just looking at this, it may seem like a long way to evolution. But I have a trump card. Today marks 1 week since I dominated the spaceship with my corrosive tentacles. In other words, this is the day I can use the symbol of hunt. I have to get as much predation effect as possible for the next 20 minutes. If this were a different planet or continent, collecting the essential genetic essence for evolution would not have been easy. But this is Utopia 2, a continent teeming with creatures possessing rare genetic essence. Coincidentally, there's a suitable place to use the symbol of hunt. There's a place in this forest that I can explore. Honestly, it's a very dangerous area for me now, but it's a place where I can obtain the traits I need in abundance. The swamp. If I follow the river south from here, an immense swamp with terrifying creatures will appear. To be precise, it's not that each creature in the swamp is individually strong, but rather, it's due to the hostile environment and mutual symbiosis. Monsters in the swamp commonly carry extremely potent toxins and viruses. Even experienced players would find it impossible to conquer it without extensive preparation against toxins and viruses. I, too, wouldn't have considered entering the swamp, especially when I am just a pre-saint, even if it were a game. That would have been the case originally. Having consumed the corpses of pirates, I left the camp. Currently, I have everything I need to conquer the swamp. Firstly, I possess a disease resistance trait that grants immunity to all types of diseases. In the game, I would never have received it. Upon becoming a pre-saint, we get an automatic immunity to all biochemical attacks as a special evolutionary bonus. Although disease resistance may not seem like a useful trait, it becomes extremely valuable in situations where immediate entry into the swamp is necessary, as is the case now. If I use the symbol of the hunt here, the trait effects will be enhanced. So, even entering the swamp won't cause much harm. Moreover, the symbol of hunt itself strengthens all my traits, making it relatively easy for me to fight against the creatures in the swamp. While they are powerful, their direct combat capabilities are lower compared to entities like Gigrant. And this. In my small hand on my chest, there was a partially broken indomitable mask. This silver mask grants immunity to toxins and mental attacks, as well as the ability to detect concealed targets. What's crucial is that this mask is made of metal. In other words, it means that I can absorb the abilities of the mask using metal absorption. If I obtain the immunity effect of the mask, it will be a great help in conquering the swamp. Having completed all preparations, today I will finally challenge the conquest of the swamp. It's almost done. The wide, blue riverbank gradually narrows, and yellowish moss and aquatic plants become noticeable on the water. The surroundings are filled with decaying and broken trees, mushrooms emitting poisonous mist, and colorful insects. The air carries a strong smell and thick poison penetrates through the sturdy exterior. It's always a shocking space. I endured the stinging pain felt throughout my body and looked around. In this swamp, there aren't any imposing trees that stretch for hundreds of meters, but instead, there are mushrooms ranging from about 5 to 10 meters, adult-sized leeches, and leeches the size of buses roaming around. There's a movie that came out before I came to this world, where giant humanoids are the protagonists. In that movie, there's a scene where explorers are trapped in a valley, and gruesome bugs attack them. According to rumors circulating in the community, the swamp in Utopia 2 continent was inspired by the valley area in that scene. In other words, grotesque pests carrying toxins and viruses all over emerge from every space. Thanks to this, even among high-level players, some avoid this place not only due to its difficulty but also because of its repulsive visuals. But for me, it's very advantageous. It could be considered a genetic essence buffet. After activating metal absorption, I took a bite of the indomitable mask. A tingling sensation around the surface flowed once, and soon the stinging pain disappeared. To confirm, I grabbed a creature, a bug the size of a person's head, crawling nearby, and swallowed it. The official name of this creature is the itch-inducing bug, which induces itching in its victims due to the toxin it carries. Even after eating the itch-inducing bug, my insides were perfectly fine. Immunity to toxins has been applied. Having completed the confirmation, I removed the indomitable mask and activated the symbol of hunt. My body, already evolved once on the horizon of nightmares, transformed into a much more perfect predator. 2 new arms emerged from my thick and heavy back. The bone blades at their ends were extremely sturdy and sharp, capable of easily cutting through even tough metals. Next, all 6 corrosion tentacles hidden inside my back came out. The tentacles didn't change much in size, but the attachments at their ends transformed into sharp claws, becoming menacing weapons on their own. The once bulging back rapidly shrunk, now having a more agile figure compared to before. Of course, nests housing cute tooth fairies near the waist area still remained. The physique itself had a more agile image compared to when the horizon of nightmares was applied, but overall size had increased significantly. My current height is 12 meters, nearly reaching the height of a 4-story apartment building. In terms of size alone, it could be considered almost equivalent to Gigrants. Other details, as usual, were enhanced, including the armor attached to combat arms and legs. Spiky thorns grew on the armor of arms and legs, making them deadly enough to cause substantial damage when attacking enemies. Finally, the armor on my head covered my eyes, completing all the changes. Growl. An enormous body that rivals a 4-story apartment building is filled with immense power, truly feeling like a force capable of doing anything. I casually swung my tail, smashing a decaying tree behind me. Even though it had decayed, a tree with a diameter of 5 meters shattered like tree branches breaking. Large centipedes that had nested inside were startled and quickly scurried out. All right. I swung the corrosion tentacles to catch the fleeing bugs. The hook-shaped attachments sliced through the bugs' bodies. As the corrosion tentacles absorbed the prey, a transparent text box continuously appeared. Watching that, I took a deep breath and roared loudly. Roar. The air burst out explosively, and the contaminated water in front of me split in an instant. Mosquito-like creatures, hovering over the swamp in front of me, vanished without a trace in mid-air due to my roar. Now, shall we begin? The goal is to obtain enough genetic essences to evolve in 20 minutes. It's time to have a feast after a long while.